All right, we're live.
Live. Oh, there's nothing up there. I see it's going to be over here.
Yeah. I've got some cleanup to do.
I'll shut this off.
Welcome to the stream, folks. Sunday night after the Tony, and we are live from Del Campo Garage. And boy, we got a bunch of people already making comments in here. Man, I pulled a piece of safety wire out of the
There's a,
sole of my shoe.
there's a
It
thing
was
that normally
jabbing me.
there's a thing that's normally up here. It isn't here.
It's
Okay,
over there,
it's over there. Okay, I'll look over there.
but it's
That'll
not
work.
up to date yet.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Wow. Sorry we're a couple minutes late. We got up here to the shop. We were down there watching Uncle Tony. He ran late. So then we run up here and the internet didn't work. So
Well,
Kim,
I was
Kim,
doing wiring today
well,
and I botched
yeah,
it.
there was a story behind that. She bought a bunch of new equipment. We were trying to make it better up here. We ran out of time. So then she had to put it all back in a hurry. That's why we're late. But
Welcome,
we're here.
Allum, Kitsy Fluff,
Kitsy Fluff's
Kim.
here. Hey, and Kitsy Fluff, I got your email and I quickly looked. I was so much going on. I quickly looked at it and I see you got your machine up. Good
Oh,
deal.
congratulations. Oof,
But
that's gonna be a
that's as far as I got was I just glanced at that email or a text or whatever it was. I guess it was a text. I was scrambling trying to just had everything happen at once, you know. Let's see who else is here. We got a new monitor up here. It looks different, and the yeah, that light's right in it, but it's I think it'll be better. Wow, it's bigger. Kim went out and bought actually a like a 30 something inch TV, tipped it on its side, so all the chats on that thing. And it's big, which means I can go get way back even with my close-up glasses on.
well,
So
that'll be the idea is that we'll
that's
be able to
good.
be over there and still read the chat from a distance.
Paul's here. Okay, Kim, I just started running over you, and you didn't do the introductions or anything. I'm sorry.
Welcome to the stream.
I'm all excited.
Uh, thank you, everyone. Paul, welcome to the stream. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I am Kim of Kim Fixes Things. I'm here with your regular host, Buck Del Campo. And we are live. I think we are the after show. Generally, especially on a Sunday. If you're just getting here or if you're here tomorrow, what we're going to do is what we do pretty much most of our live streams is we are going to talk with the chat. We'll greet people as they come and go, uh, and we'll talk about our projects. We'll talk about automotive stuff. We'll talk about kind of anything that's on our mind, anything that you would like to discuss. I know Tony was talking about the deep state.
No, I don't want to go there. Like I gotta live it. I don't want to talk.
Dean Stevenson, welcome to the stream. I mean, we can. That's like late in the stream. We're gonna start talking about um
Well, I noticed
the cars, the events, the things that we're doing.
somebody had said something earlier when I checked out the chat before I came up here was that the Dart was doing well. So we'll talk about that probably. But go ahead, Kim. I'm overrunning you.
Well, last night, if you weren't here, or if you haven't been here before, we pulled this front seat back out of the car, and so I had sort of updated the inserts to the seats, um, with new fabric, and then I had added some foam. Well, I overdid it, and the base seat was about 2 inches higher than it ever used to be. And when I sat in the car, I was like this, and I know that at the track they're going to need me to wear a helmet on top of that. So it was just like a no fly kind of situation.
Sit like this.
Yeah. So in order to get the seat out of the car, you have to take the seat back off of the bench, take the back out, and then the bench out. So we kind of restuffed the back and the bench, and they are hopefully ready, hog ringed a little bit and ready to go back in the car and test again. They're lower. We don't know if they're lower enough.
Yeah,
Stab
you were
myself in
here
the
last night.
finger.
You were here last night. You know, she hog ringed her finger. How's your finger doing?
It's not too bad.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, you poked a hole in it.
Yeah, I'm maybe gonna put some blue tape on it
Blue tape.
so dirt don't get in it.
It's the body shop bandage.
Yeah. And today So he had already kind of given away what I was about to just say. But today I went out. There was a nice lady up on the north side of town, and I drove up there, and she had an old 30-inch TV and an old 32-inch TV. I got the pair for $60. I think that was fair. They're well used. This one looks pretty good. This is
That
the
looks
better of the
that
two.
looks that looks great.
The other one is sort of fuzzy around the edges just from lots and lots of years of use.
What are we going to use that for?
That's going in the other studio because I need one of these monitors.
Okay.
Because since we're using a computer, not a laptop, it doesn't have a monitor with it. So we had, anyways, we also need a monitor for when we have the remote camera, when we're moving around on the cart. It needs to have a monitor so
We
we
need
can
like
see.
10 monitors.
We
Yeah.
do. I mean, we're setting up a second live studio here in the garage, which was always a plan to have a live studio here in the garage. And we've been doing it the really light duty way with just my laptop and the camera and the microphone. And then we added another screen so it was easy to follow chat. And the problem is we're having is that there's not enough USB ports in my laptop computer. And when you plug in one of those USB like extension things that has multiple plugs, the camera flutters out.
Says I'm looking red again. I am red again.
He is because I left the filters from yesterday on there, but I can
Oh,
take them
that's all.
off.
Yeah, de-red me.
De-red the Buffdale camper. All right, all right, all right.
Somehow, yesterday you had that bright shirt on. You brightened it up and it looked really good. And then, but it also did something to my face.
How about now?
Am I less red?
Oh, you're a lot less red.
Now you look pale.
Well, we
Are
are
you
pale.
pale? I
The
don't know.
thing is so that you can see, because with the cheaper cameras, the more light, the better. Less likely they are to get all grainy and pixelated. So we have a lot of light in here. It washes us out a little bit. So there's a balance, and we have not found it because we are not professionals. Well, I mean, I guess we are professionals now. If we've technically earned money, does that make us professionals, or do
Wait a
we
minute.
get a paycheck?
Can I talk about
Sure, talk about
monetization here for a minute?
it. Okay.
Okay, there were some complaints the last couple of nights that commercials were popping up in the middle of the stream. I tried to shut that off. It was like I read it a bunch of times. You know, the instructions sounded like some attorney wrote it, so I was really having trouble understanding it. So we just shut it off for tonight. Uh, I guess the super chats are still there, but if there's any commercials, let me know because I think we shut them off for tonight because it was annoying. I'm trying to get so we have good control over that, and I couldn't figure out how to do it yet.
Oh, Robert, welcome to the stream. Robert Owen says,
Where's
hey,
oh,
got an update on changing the pistons with the D150. I think that was a slant six engine in the truck. Did it. Not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Congratulations. That is fantastic. That's a big job, even if it's
and you
easy.
and you were thinking about trying to do it in the truck, and then you did it in the truck. That's good.
Yeah, that's wow. Way to go.
Am I still looking red? Because Paul says I was red, but maybe I'm less
Oh,
red.
yeah, now we're just pale as all hell.
Or pale. I just I'm just pale. If you get a check, you can consider yourself gross. Yeah, I think the first night we were monetized, we get all done and we look at it, it's like, how much did we make? Well, we made 60 cents between that and the video before. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
With all the super chats and all the
the
views
super
that we've
chats.
had since we started being monetized, we're eligible for like $10.
Well, the super chats added up to almost 20, but they keep 30%. Say whatever that is with the 60 cents we made. And but they won't send it to you
Yeah.
till you have like $100 or something. But anyway, at least we're monetized and for tonight anyway. We got
It's
the
a really
commercials
cool
missing.
milestone. It Okay. We have sound
We
from
have
that,
sound. Do
but
we have
it's not the right microphone. So
Okay.
we're gonna
Can anybody hear us?
try and switch it back to the other microphone.
Can anybody hear us? Yeah, we're gonna try to swap back to a good mic.
Yep.
Okay, we have sound, but it's not very good. I gotta yell. Hmm. That's our good mic, and it stopped. A good mic stopped. We're trying to recycle that mic and having trouble. Oh, yeah, somebody said yes. So we have sound, it's just
Nope.
bad.
I've got the other microphone back on.
You got it back on. Okay, but then there's two mics going or what?
Nope, the other microphone is muted.
It's muted.
We're
Okay.
good.
So we've got good sound again. I don't know what happened. She probably knows because she re-engineered it just now. But it was,
I found a workaround, but I do not know why it did what it did. I think we should stop talking about monetization.
yeah, it's just it got mad and quit.
Well, all those connectors were haphazardly slapped together because we were in a hurry, so something wasn't making good enough connection. And now it is.
Audio back. Yeah, sorry about that. Something, man.
So,
I remember in the early days of TV when I was a little kid, black and white TV,
yes.
there used to be like an error thing that come on. It says, "We'll be back."
I remember.
Engineering problems or something.
I
I
think
never see that anymore. And that same thing, the engineers all going like crazy trying to fix something like that.
considering we are not electronics majors and we are just flying by the seat of our pants most nights, we've actually had a minimal amount of downtime in our streams. I think that, sometimes you just things fail. That's okay.
So why'd you bring that up here?
Okay, so this is our new streaming computer. And the reason that it is better than using my laptop is because there's 6 direct injection USB ports.
Direct injection.
And then there's another
I want a carburetor.
4 on the front. And there's a microphone input on the front and a microphone input on the back.
Kim Possible to the rescue.
Yes.
That's what Dr. Go says. And Dean Stevenson earlier said he was where was it? It was kind of funny. Well, I didn't say yes because I've got an accent. I think we all have the accent.
Oh.
Isn't New Zealand? They're like closer to the Queen's English or King's English, whatever it is now. Figured out how Kiwi or an Aussie sounds to North American. I heard talked to some Russians and they were telling me English sounded like dogs barking. 'Cause none of them spoke English. So they said English sounded like dogs barking.
Okay.
Okay. Because he's talking about how an Aussie sounds to North American. Do you need SP rated out for that computer? I don't know what he's talking about. You might know what he's talking about. Oh, oil.
It runs on it's got to be the really light stuff because it's,
Do you put oil in that computer?
EV. Yeah. What is it? The zero weight oil?
Zero W8 or 0W6 or 7 or
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is now. It's
Yeah.
like water oil. No, we have accent. It's always the ones who accuses who has one. So what's my accent? I grew up in California, which is kind of like the American TV accent. And then I was in the military and went all over the place, sort of picked up a little here and there. Now I'm in the South. I definitely don't sound like I'm from the South. So, because there's local people tell me I'm a Yankee, but I never thought I was a Yankee. It's like in New York. So I don't know what I am.
Or
I don't know what I sound like. When I was in England, I started spelling with S's instead of Z's, though. Six-pack rated oil. I went to McDonald's by the Kremlin. You can still order by the pictures.
neat.
I I've never been to Moscow. Been to St. Petersburg and then out out on the train east of there, out in the cold, sort of like a New Zealander's accent, but it doesn't have weird inflections. They call everyone Yankees if you're not Southern. Yeah.
Tim made a bunch of comments earlier
Oh,
that we
okay. I missed
skipped
them. Okay,
about
I'm
how he's
sorry.
preparing to pull the motor out of his truck tomorrow. He's going
Oh
to
yeah,
record it with his GoPro. So we are looking forward to that, and we
and
want to
that's
see the video.
it's your truck up here, right? I think
Yeah,
it's your truck that we put up there.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of that truck with that motor, I guess. It'll be out. It'll have the nose way up in the air. Sound like a middle American. Oh, I lived in South Dakota when I was a kid too. South Dakota, the O, the round O's. Uh, this goes like New York City, except everybody speaks Russian. Of course, it depends on what part of New York City you go to. There's an area in New York City where everybody speaks Russian.
Really?
Oh, you know where it is? Uh, it's on Long Island. I can't think of the name of the area. I should know it. But my former wife, is Russian, and she's a uh, Red Cross person. And when they had that big old hurricane hit up there, they sent a bunch of Red Cross people up there, and she got sent up there. And I said, "What are you going to do?" And she goes, "I don't know." Well, it hit right where all those Russians lived, and she was the only one there that spoke Russian. It just happened to work out. So, uh, it was a big help just having somebody there that could translate. Worked out for them. The right Red Cross person showed up. I said, "What was the biggest problem people had there after the hurricane?" She goes, "They lost their glasses." She goes, "We spent weeks getting everybody new glasses." Kind of an interesting story. He got out of Russia around 1980. I tried taking some Russian because his family was good to me and all pretty hard to access what I learned anymore most of the time. Yeah, it's Nantucket. Let's see, I don't know what that's about. Moscow has its area for the rich and tourists. Gets pretty bleak if yeah, a lot of Russia's like that. Well, I haven't been in I say that. I haven't been in Russia since 1997. So, it's still pretty much is just coming out of Soviet time. It was everybody's dirt poor. Um, Chicago has the largest Russian population in the country. It could. Uh, there was an area in Cleveland, the west or the east side of Cleveland was pretty heavily Russian there for a while. Nantucket. Well, my sister lived on Nantucket for a while. Huh. Polish too. Don't ask how I know that. Kim, you got
Yes.
really quiet.
I'm reading the chat. It's going by quick, and people are just blurting out all kinds of things. Interesting conversation. I appreciate everybody being here. I am like coming down from the swirl of trying to get all of this stuff put together, and like I'm just
Well, and
settling into the fact that it's like working finally.
I threw her a big old curve because she bought all the stuff and brought it up here and started working at the shop, getting it going, and came down there and I'm watching Tony, and I know I'd set up the stream to start 15 minutes after Tony was finished, but then Tony went long. I'm thinking, man, Tony, come on, wrap it up, because I'm on a timeline here, and I told Kim that, or at least I thought I did, and then as soon as Tony ended, I'm like in a big old hurricane, man, getting ready to run up here and get ready. And she's just like taking her time. I'm going,
My shoes on
Kim,
one
come
time.
on. We only got 3 minutes. And she's like, what? It's like,
We
"Yo."
only started at 10.
She goes, don't we start at 10? I go, no, quarter after 9. And then she
I
came up
know.
here, unplugged all the new stuff, plugged in the old stuff, and got us
Plugged in the
going.
old stuff. Like it was way too late to, and then I something had fallen down off the shelf back behind some bins and reset
What the router or
reset the
whatever it is?
breaker for the
Oh,
router.
would snap the breaker.
Yeah, so I had to push that little
Because we're
button in
sitting
the
here and
center.
we're ready to go and there's no internet. It's like,
And
oh,
there was no power. Our lights weren't coming on. We
and
couldn't figure out what was going
that's
on.
why I got on there and I set I left you a message on the phone. Um,
It all worked out. We figured it out.
Jim's Fastback Garage. Kim, how's the dart? How's it going?
It's going
It's
very
going.
slow, Jim. We've been very busy with um, getting into a rhythm of streaming every night. And
Well,
the thing of it is the way we have it set up, it's very hard to walk away from the chat and work on things. So this new computer will give us more freedom of the free movement.
arrows.
Welcome to the Stream Barrows. Because we'll be able to hook our cameras. We'll be able to hook more cameras, so we'll be able to have our base camera that doesn't move, and then we'll be able to have a mobile camera or two. Um,
So, like, if we're underneath changing the oil, you can get a close up of the oil falling out of the oil pan,
yeah.
right?
And so we did play with that. If you've been here a couple nights last week, we were playing with using the GoPro like that, but it was giving us problems because we were trying to share the same USB plug, and it was making this cameras glitch and overheat.
That's why we're like
And
max headroom.
yeah, so I realized that we need a dedicated machine for that, and we're working to get that, and it just doesn't happen in one day. I did run out, and I ran updates on this machine. It hasn't been. This is an older streaming rig. This isn't the one out of our other studio. It's an additional one that I had set up as a backup when I was doing uh dedicated streaming stuff for people. And so this was my backup machine, but it's more than sufficient to stream from our garage. So I had to run Windows updates. It was like 3 rounds of updates. So you figure like 3, 4 hours. And all you have to do is click next, but you have to keep an eye on it. And I
Good
had to
evening,
run up.
Good evening, Tavo. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. I had to run across town and get an extra monitor. I ended up getting two. So things up here will at the shop will start being as good as they are down at the. We might even set a green screen up here so you can talk in front of a green screen while I'm working.
Why do I want to do
Got
that?
lots of
You see here we have lots of good stuff in the background. In the studio, there's a wall. So we put green screen up so we can show all the pictures, which I think that's fun. And by the way, the viewers are sending all these pictures and we show them and everything, and then I keep them and I'm using them for thumbnails. I hope everybody's okay with that. Somebody up here said they wanted uh what some I can't think of the word.
Oh, they want money.
They, they wanted some for use in the yeah, we'll send you like 10%, which would be 6 cents.
Yeah.
Let's see. In Tavo's the alien tonight. Um,
Once we have stickers.
and Rob's Rods and Streetcars is here. Hello, how you doing? Okay, once we have stickers,
Yeah, we'll send people stickers if we use your picture. That will be fun.
what else did I say back there? Oh yeah, remember check your fluids. Yeah, we're here for Ari because Ari normally does after the Tony. But when we spoke to Ari last night, he said, he's still in Phoenix, Arizona, and he just really isn't going to run the live tonight. But he said he'd stop in here if he could. So we're here Tuesday night. Normally we take Tuesday nights off, and but we didn't tonight.
Tuesdays?
Or I'm sorry, Sunday nights. It's Tuesday night we're on. See, I can't. I'm all mixed up. Yeah, Sunday night we're normally off. We just watch Tony and uh and Ari. I don't like to miss Ari's live. He does a good live. He's sitting there in his truck and it's just good stuff.
Jim's Fastback Garage says, um, that sounds awesome. I just had to take the intake off the Mustang. I hope there's nothing wrong having to take the intake off.
Which engine is
I
that?
hope it's
Which engine?
okay.
This is the 68 Mustang? The 68 with the 66 top. I can't wait to see that. I think that looks it's just an interesting looking car, Uh, it's got.
All of them says Ari's not here. Remember to check your fluids.
I just said that.
Oh,
Missed that.
I'm so out of it tonight. I'm so sorry, people.
Uh, Windows scared me away when they kept trying to force an update to like Windows 10. I remember that. Yeah, I resisted that too. But then at work, they took all our computers. Take the computers out of the building. We took them all out, and they gave us all secured computers, and they were all Windows 10. That was brand new then. So yeah, I used Windows 10, but I've just ended up with my computer at home is like old operating system, and Kim, of course, has got all the newest, latest, greatest stuff.
It's not so much that I desperately need. See, this is a Windows 10 machine, and it's more than sufficient for what it needs. But there'll be a day where I can't get the software to run properly because it demands I update. And at that point, a lot of times it's not worth fooling with it anymore, and I just go buy a newer computer. Like this is an old used workstation. It's more than it's more than adequate for streaming, but like, it's not like a gaming machine and most businesses buy new computers. So what do you do with the old PCs? It's like, well, I just use them to make streaming rigs and it doesn't cost too much. I think I have $150 into this machine. And if you started doing a lot of fancy stuff with it, it wouldn't work, but it'll do great for streaming. Mostly we need lots of USB ports and a couple of HDMI ports and we're good.
I take seizures, so I'm good without the green screen stuff. I can't focus on the screen, or I do the fish.
Ooh, that's not good, Barrows. I was not aware that you had seizure problems.
Let's see here.
My dad had seizures a
Yeah,
lot.
guess what?
Jim's Fastback
It's a
Garage
Cleveland.
says
Okay,
his Mustang's a Cleveland,
a
and it
Cleveland
was a
in
giant oil leak.
a Cleveland in a '68.
Oh, you haven't had it apart before. The gaskets were old and breaking up.
My housemate, my housemate is a Linux wizard. I wish I were a Linux wizard. I just don't have time for it. I use my computer like a washing machine or something. It's like it was a hobby when I first started with it, like in 1978 or whenever it was. I got my first computer way before Microsoft was around, and it was like TI 99s and Radio Shack, what they call those things, TRS 40s or whatever they were. And then that was a hobby, but now I just need it. I don't want to have to piss around with learning a system, but I do have one Linux machine, and I have it, but it mostly just sits there. And then I have like a really newer computer. I don't remember what it is, but it's got MS-DOS on it, and I run my CAD on that. Man, is that fast? Because that old MS-DOS was never on machines that are that fast. It's an instant. It,
Pablo says, what bugs me is when a site requires a newer browser, the newer browser requires a newer version of Windows, but your computer can't run that version. Yeah, that's what,
yeah,
when I get to that point, I stop fighting it. It's like, okay, you beat me. And then I go and I buy a slightly newer computer that works with the newer requirements. And then I use it until it's no good anymore. And that's my recycling. If it's for me, like my laptop I bought brand new because I use it every day all the time, but streaming computer, it can be something used.
TRS 80. I remember they used to call that was the Radio Shack computer. They used to call them a Trash 80. I think there was a TRS 40 and then the 80. Man, and back then I wanted one of the Radio Shack ones, one of the original ones, but didn't get one because I had the TI 99, if you remember those things. And what else was there? Oh, it was after that. I had a Commodore 64, a VIC 20, and then a Commodore 64.
Oh man, you're in
And
the Wayback Machine
oh,
now.
you had to write your program, and there's no way to save it then. So when you turn the machine off, it just piff, it went away.
I had a tape drive and
So
then a 5.5 inch floppy drive after
I
that.
had a 5.5 inch floppy drive, but that was much later. But you shut it off, just piff it away. Oh man,
Jim's
those are
Fastback
days.
Garage says, I have built it 3 times, but can't explain the gasket problem. What kind of gaskets are you using? Maybe you have to see if you can find a
Well, You're a
version.
Ford guy. You just, ah, I hate stuff like that. I hate stuff like that. Put something together and it leaks again, and you found the leak, and you put it together again and it leaks again. Yeah, I tear your hair out with stuff like that. Don't tear your hair out, but yeah, you feel like it. Nice thing about a lot of Linux distros, you can have them operate like Windows 98 or Apple or even smartphone, whatever UI happens to be there. User interfaces, UI. So on my end, the only issue is programs. Oh,
Oh,
Dr. Doe, you had a trash 80.
I don't think a
TRS
lot
80.
of the guys on these live streams are really up to. I mean, if it's something that you use every day, but you got to be a pretty
Download.
avid hobbyist to be able to try and run some of this software on Linux distros, and it chases people off. Windows has got a grip on the market because they know how to do that. Tabo's
I'm,
got a working Commodore 64. But is it working? What
you,
does it do?
you say that Windows has, my former wife, the Russian lady, she had Windows all along, and then Windows 8 came along, and she bought a new computer, and we struggled with it, and then went to the what was it 8.1 or something. They said they fixed it, but they didn't. And you know what she did? She bought her first Mac, and she's been all Apple all the time ever since then. Everything, phones, iPads, the whole thing. That's what Microsoft did for her. I kind of struggled through it, went back to Windows 7, and then I've stayed with Windows. But I bet Microsoft. I know out where I worked. Oh, more than half the people went to Macs, and we made good money out there. And they just go out, spend the money and buy a Mac. And yeah, that's what Windows 8 did. Let's see. I like Cleveland's two thickness of head gasket. The boss and the HO for R was finished deck to suit its 43,000 gasket, but a 38. Man, he's really getting the weeds here. Worked okay with the Cobra Jet. Ford put a lot of effort into avoiding. I don't know Cleveland's that well. I know what they are. I've worked on them a little bit, but I had Windsors. I really like the Windsor, but yeah, the guys at the Clevelands were faster. But I didn't have a lot of money in mine, and I had a pretty good running engine. My fastest engine was probably a 429. It was the 385 series engine. Uh, Stick problems. This is really going fast. It's been 6 years since the last build. Okay, so you've got to turn your brain back 6 years. Uh, they say the moon landing had the capacity of a Commodore 64. I don't think it was even that good. Uh, it may have been.
I mean, it was what, 15 years earlier,
It
so
was. It was
I'd be
90.
surprised they could squeeze that much on that little ship.
It was 1969. Yeah, it locked up, and Neil Armstrong landed manually, and he had 12 seconds of fuel left. He on the ground said, "Yeah, Neil." What was the first thing they said to him? He go, "Yeah, we can breathe again." Jeez, because they're counting the fuel down. Uh, I don't have that, but I have a lot of older games. Okay, Paul, Jim's Fast Track Garage. Maybe too much crankcase pressure building up. Ooh, man, I remember that problem. We used to have like four, just two tubes on each valve cover with breather caps on them, uh, because of crankcase pressure. But I don't want to say you got any problems with that. It's like probably can avoid that. I never really got along with Mac. The early ones would pretend nothing's wrong and then just lock up and freeze. I don't know much about Macs. I know I know my former wife really got into iPads, and she just started doing everything with the iPads. And she'd go out and buy a new iPad every time there was a new version. In fact, one of them, she left it here, and we just charged it up. I haven't had it turned on. It's probably old now, but she bought a new iPad, just left it sitting here.
She did not.
Oh, what happened?
There's no iPad here.
What is that thing?
It's just some old
Oh,
thing.
it's not, it's some other tablet.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
it's
guess that's why she left it here. It wasn't an
it's a
iPad.
piece of junk. Dr. Go, you said I have heard that some people who enjoy music and video editing love their Macs. Absolutely. There are a lot of artists that won't even go any other direction than Mac. And I just have never had the I don't know. I was always cheaping out buying a three, maybe $400 computer max, and Macs were always 1,000 or 1,500, and so I've been on the PC world for so long that I just don't think that I probably will ever make the jump to a Mac at this point. But yeah, there's great software for Macs if you know how to use it.
Barrows, I was in your live earlier, and you were starting to talk about the 385 Ford, and I had some questions, but I was in the middle. I was scrambling trying to get ready for this, and I knew Tony was coming up, and you were overlapping into him, and I wanted to get over to his before it got too far, and I had to grab a shower, and it was just like everything happened. I really want to talk to you about. I want to get into the weeds about a few things on the 385. You're probably the guy that knows, and I might give you a call sometime, and if you have time, there's a couple things I'd like to learn about them, and because I haven't had a 385 since like 1979, maybe 1980, somewhere in there, and I want to refresh the brain a little bit on it. Uh, let's see. You want to Dean Stevenson? What is that? Its memory probably cannot be compared to.
Right. It was
Oh,
a
okay.
completely different memory
Oh,
setup
yeah.
than the Commodore 64 because it was application specific. Right. So it was less of a computer, but it was very specific to what it needed to do. Jim's Fastback Garage offers that buff. He will take you for a ride in the Fastback at No Name
I
Nationals.
might do that. I quit riding with people in airplanes because I just quit. I don't even fly airplanes anymore. I always said if I built another airplane, I'd fly it down the runway, like 20 feet off the ground and make sure the ailerons and everything work like a new design, and then do it again and really have it to the point where I trusted it and I'd let somebody else do some other young guy that wants to be a test pilot do all the other stuff because I'm just not interested in. I got too many friends been killed in accidents, but I might ride in a car with somebody I don't know. Oh, that's pretty crazy. I ride with Kim. It took me a while before yeah, I first rode with her, I was hanging on all the time, going like, "Hey, we're going off the road. Hey, look out. There's somebody coming the other way."
Like, I know how a car works.
Oh, man.
I understand, though.
Oh, I've ridden with people in airplanes where I'm like, I don't like the way they're flying, and I got to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
35 was the first all fixed. 385 was the first all fixed. I'm reading like three different uh, comments at the same time. Maybe it was suitable video monitor. Okay, 385 is the first all fixed Ford engine. I'm not sure what that means. No worries. I had to cut that live short to put away my battery charger before the storm hit. Oh yeah, you were talking about a storm coming. The 335 was the second. Small block Ford was an engine with all the metal taken out of it. My 289 was a really light engine. My 289. I had a bunch of them, but the first one, my 64 Ford ended up underwater in a flood. So that was a big deal. And that's when I took apart the 289, the C4, the rear end. I redid everything. And that engine it was just a freshen up because it had water in it. Yeah, but it was really lightweight and it weighed quite a bit less than like a small block Chevy. I was kind of surprised. And the 351 Windsor was a larger engine, but it was still pretty lightweight. I will respect whatever you decide. Yeah, I'd like to ride in it. Just, it's such a strange car because you put that top on it. I never thought anybody would do it. Never even, I like stuff that's like that. And I never even thought about doing that. And the first time I saw it, it's like, whoa, look at that. An early fastback on what I would call a late model Mustang. If 68 is late model. In the early 80s, I worked at Lockheed converting the old hardwired NASA systems to IBM. The shuttles were the first to be true computers. Oh man, the shuttles. Kim just went away. I don't know where she went. Finally got it right, and bang, emissions hit. Oh yeah, emissions. That's what knocked me out of the air conditioning business. It's in California, and R12 became illegal basically, and there was no R134 yet. You just like, now what?
Now what? How about now?
Now what? Like half my business was gone instantly. Each each year, each next new engine, Ford took more metal out of it. The 385 was 430, 462 with great weight reduction, but great cylinder wall thickness. Well, I remember the 430 and the 462. Didn't they have uh, an internal hydraulic pump that was run off the timing chain or something? I remember those Lincolns had hydraulic windshield wipers, hydraulic steering, maybe some other hydraulic stuff. And that engine became something I didn't like at all. In fact, those old Thunderbirds, the Squarebirds, 58, 59, and 60s, I really avoided the ones with the 430s. I like the ones with the FE engines. I'd never buy one with the 430 in it. Just, I don't like that engine at all. Uh, did it work, Dean? I like lightness, but also like things not breaking. Original space capsules were just hardwired toggle switches, not even transistors. Huh. Well, I remember that was like early 60s. The 335 was even more emaciated than the already risky to rev 289 and 302. I never had problems with a 289 or a 302, but I never really ran anything hard like a lot of people did. To me, hard was like going up to 6 grand like once in a while on the street. The Essex V6 90 degree had even more metal removed. I just posted a short with an old can of R12. Really? Where'd you ever find that? Downfall of Windsor was the external balance. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. But as long as you just had a Windsor, weren't trying to change stuff around. Kim, where'd you go? You disappeared.
Me the car working.
What? Oh, you're in the car? Downfall. She just left. She went. She's inside the car doing something. She's fixing something. Right?
Channel, for God's sakes, I want
Get mad.
to see.
She's mad at me because I'm giving her crap because she walked away and she's working on a car on the car channel. But I do love that little 302. For the 335 Cleveland, sort of, you just have to have a load of spare blocks. The 289, the 289, 302, 351 Windsor probably became the best thin wall engines. That's all we're talking about is cars. R12 and tap valve and tube on my garage shelf from Kmart for under $2. Man, I remember everything was R12. I remember I buy R12, I buy 50 pounders for like 40 something dollars. No, the 50 pounders were like 60 something dollars. It was the smaller one. What was the smaller one? 30 pounds? They were like about $40. But then it went crazy and it was $900. I was like, oh, go. And you had to have a license to buy it. Then the Cologne V6 was imported from West Germany, from West German metal, so Ford didn't care. It was lots of iron. See, we've got Cologne V6s here now. Kim bought just that's what she pulled out of the car or out of that truck we disassembled in here. Did it live, disassembled the truck in the shop live. And I mean really disassembled it, everything down to the frame. Uh, I have a spare Cleveland block, two pre-70 302 blocks, and a 69 351 Windsor. Yeah, my 351 was a 69. Started off as a 69. It's also why I don't mess with 400 Chevy. External is okay as long as you don't spin them tight for long runs. I had a 400 Chevy that was all apart, and I got rid of it in the trade where I got rid of my Cougar, and the guy eventually put that 400 in the Cougar, pulled the 327 out with the 400 in it with that cross ramp. Then he wrecked it. Just totaled that car. Just destroyed it, sadly.
Some people you can't trust with nothing.
What's that? Kim's hollering from inside the car. You need a microphone in there?
Yeah.
I'll get you a radio. That R12 short just hit 2,600 hits in about 5 hours. Yeah, it's probably all the old guys that are going, R12? Oh, yeah, I remember that stuff. I like the first year H&M code 351 Windsor. What a great engine. Okay, what's an H and an M code? I'm not sure. I had a 351 Windsor that was a two barrel in I think it was in a 69 Ranchero. It could have been just a Torino or a Fairlane or something. God, I don't remember. It was a wrecked car. It wasn't a Ranchero. I would have remembered that. I think it was just uh, a Fairlane. And I pulled it out, and the rest of the car went in a wrecking yard. It was a total. But of course, I put different manifold and did a bunch of stuff to it, cam and stuff. Tim said he saw the R12 video. Jim's Fastback Garage. I built a 383 small block Chevy Stroker and didn't rev it past 6,000. Tom's. Probably mean Tim's. Um, 250 horsepower two barrel and 290 horsepower four barrel, same heads, same 948 deck block. What was really nice about the higher deck height was the thermostat housing. You get a socket straight at the lower bolt. You didn't have to go in there with a funny looking wrench to get the bolt out because the 289s, 260s, 289s, 302s, there's no straight shot at that bolt. And I had a cooling system shop, so I was always, yeah, if the car had air conditioning, I had a funny looking wrench that I could go in there and I could get that bolt out. They just finished how to make it a great last year U.S. Shelby engine. That's the key to stroke. You don't have to spin them as tight. Yeah, I guess the stroke is for torque. Who knows something about I don't remember because it's all liters now, but it's a 496 cubic inch, 496 cubic inch big block Chevy. A friend of mine had what's the big SUV Chevrolet? I can't think of. No, Escalade's a Cadillac, but same body as an Escalade. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I can't pull names out of my head anymore. But that's what we were towing my big 33-foot trailer here with when we were moving. So, during all that, he sold his truck and bought a new one. Well, not a new one, like 2 or 3 year newer uh, SUV, and it had the 496 in it. And I drove that thing pulling that trailer, and it was amazing. They were see a lot more. I don't understand that. They were see the 496 a lot more in boats. Uh, See, I don't like things breaking on me. Yeah, neither do I. Only thing I've ever run past 4,500 revs is a two-stroke. Well, my 351 Windsor, I used to run it up to 5,800. It sounded like it's spinning pretty good, but yeah, I did it a lot. But that was kind of my limit. I'd get up close to 6,000. It'd start running out of power anyway, because cam and the manifold and everything I had would. It was supposed to be good from like uh, 4,000 to 5,500, something like that, and you could feel it fall off at 5500. It was done. Pop it into second. Take off again. I like that's pretty good. Let's see. We use the M code 290 horsepower 4-barrel Windsor and a special 300 horsepower 4-barrel Windsor for 2 years in Australia, 69 and 70. I had one of those 4-barrel Windsors, and I guess it was the same one as down there. I don't know. It was in my 69 Mach 1. Mach 1 Mustang had a 4-barrel Windsor and a 4-speed. That thing was pretty quick. Just factory stock. Went good. Uh, I haven't revved the Cleveland past 5400 yet. Yeah, okay, I'll ride with you. Some American cars gave me a bit of habit for short shifting most of the time. So Kim, do you need some help over there? Or what you doing? Well, there's a lot of banging noises in there. It sounds like when I hear that stuff, I get worried about you. She quit talking. She's mad at me. She says she's not mad. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The Cleveland doesn't lose any power up high. The 4-barrel 300, 285 horse were great. The late 71, 280 horse Cobra Jet was probably better. A friend of mine had what was the Cleveland that was in 1971? Of course, here they dropped the compression and everything in 72, but it was a 71 Cleveland, and he pulled it out of a 71 Ranchero and put it in a 57 Ford, two-door wagon. And I remember it had 356 gears in rear end it was a car that originally had a Y block in it. And then he put a 406 Ford, an FE engine in it. And then he put that 4-barrel Cleveland, I think it was 335 horse maybe, out of that 71 Ranchero. It was just a stock engine, and oh man, it was faster than his 406 FE. That thing was a running car, man. Buffett has 3-to-1 gear. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's out. My 64 4 had 3 O's in the rear. Boss 351 and HO 4-barrel. Power growth between 5200 and 6150 rev limiter was epic. I never had anything with a rev limiter. Well, except probably my Mazda. I've hit that before. I don't think I'm supposed to be hitting a rev limiter on that little 4-cylinder Mazda. My friends and I tried to buy a Windsor car off my dad before we had our licenses. It was vetoed, but we had time to fix things. M code 385 horsepower, 351 4-barrel was a great engine. What was the one that was 1971? I think it was 335 horse Cleveland. I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But I remember that thing man, that was a running car. I remember being in that thing. He and his wife were sitting up front. He had the deck. It was a two-door wagon. He had the deck down, and I was sitting on the deck right behind the front seat, hold on to the seat. He came around a corner and nailed it. And it was a C6, and it downshifted the first. I wasn't expecting to do that. When I rolled all the way to the tailgate, plastered me against the tailgate. Oh, geez, I was probably about 17 or 18 years old then. And couldn't believe that 351 was so quick. And I mean, noticeably faster than the 406 he does. Let's see. I'm running the Australian 302 two-barrel quench chamber heads on my 357 cubic inch engine. Is that 4-valve? I'm not sure what's about. Is that 4? Oh, 4V being 4-barrel carburetor. Ford, or somebody called it Ford Venturi. 4V. It's a 4-barrel. 406, that was a freaky little Mercury. 406 was 80 thousandths over 390, but it had a a forged crank, and it was a beefy thing. Had big cast iron headers. It was a 1 year engine, I think. I think it was 62 only, maybe crept into 63 a little bit before they came out with the 427s. Uh, that was a NASCAR engine in 62. I didn't understand that's logic about trading one beater for another. R code HO4 barrel, either 330 horse or Boss, later 275 net. Oh, okay, that's why it's lower horsepower because it was net. I call ballistic engine. Yeah, 71 here was still brake horsepower. It was, for some reason 335 stuck in my mind, but it might be 330. It was the one. It was a Ranchero. It came out of Ranchero. Had the shaker hood scoop that stuck out of the hood, and he put the intake some other way because he could close the hood on the 57 Ford. Man, that thing was. I just remember how great that was. Uh, the saw lifter 4 barrels, even the Smog 72s are really tough, but rare. So in New Zealand and I suppose Australia, did they do the same thing and go to net horsepower and lower the compression way down and retard the cams and everything in 72? This is what happened when I had a 72 Torino with a 429, a 385 engine, 429, and it was a dog. That thing it converted gasoline into noise and heat, and I put heads on it from I think a 69 Thunderbird, that- and I put a different cam in it, and I put 4 barrel intake on it. Trying to think of what else I did. Oh, and when I changed the timing set, I uh, advanced the cam timing by 6 degrees, and that engine woke up. Oh man, it pulled that big heavy Torino. It just that Torino wouldn't go 90 miles an hour, and after that, it like zipped right up to 110, and I had to get out of it because it handled so poorly. I was afraid I was going to crash it. Uh,
Spinny pliers are.
Spinny pliers. Would that be? I have to take a break and look for safety wire pliers, and my foot's caught in here. Well, I thought I knew where they were. This is probably where you were looking.
I didn't look anywhere yet. I asked you where they were.
I don't see them.
Okay.
Well, there's 3 sets. There's
They're
a short
sitting.
black. There's a big long black that's worn out, but they're my favorite ones. And then there's anodized red ones, which are
Red
small.
ones are at the house.
Okay, the red ones are not as good, but they're sure nice and shiny new. And what you need? Are you using 41,000 safety wire? That's full of that thick stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 41,000. So yeah, you're gonna need the old worn out ones because the new ones won't hold. You can't get them to tighten on the 41,000s. I don't know what happened to them.
All right.
There's 2 sets here and they're missing.
You not.
It's missing.
You get put away.
I didn't put them away. Hang
You
on.
had them out, play with them, and then we do. All right.
Well, on the chat there, I'm searching for a tool that I didn't put away properly. I get really mad when I don't put stuff away.
I can just use vice grips. Oh, just use vice grips or whatever. I got this. How's everybody doing? How y'all doing? We're trying to get things. I got so many new good things today, but I didn't get them all set up, so I apologize. I'm really sorry, everybody. I tried to get it all set up today, but in the near future here, we'll have new tools, not to fix things, but to show you things. Does Kim's Dart have a trailer hitch? Pull a trailer with extra tools and parts to the No Name Nationals. No, but Kim's van is also going to the No Name Nationals. So we will have extra tools and parts and things. Yeah. Ford US had to meet emissions grade regular gas, and Ford didn't want to change much to get legal. So the 4-valve US Clevelands for late 71, 72, 73 are dark horse engines.
Are they answering my question?
I think so.
I asked a question about 1972 in Down Under vehicles.
Is he treating you guys right? Is he talking to you? Is he answering your questions, following the chat? You got to slow down when there's only one of us because we can't. We try, though. We try to be entertaining and keep the things rolling and lively. If he starts getting like too downbeat, tell him bring Kim back because I'll lighten things right up, you know? Or at least I'll try. I mean, I don't know. Last night I started getting really grouchy. He was like, "What happened to you?" We were walking back to the house. He was like, "What happened to you? You're grouchy." I got tired. I got worn out. Hey, I've been pushing pretty hard. I had those injections in my spine, and we've been probably we have digressed a lot. That's okay. I mean, it's about having a good time. So as long as you guys are entertained, but try not to be too selfish with your comments as like talk about my topic. Like let it flow back and ebb and flow with the different conversations. If somebody is comes on who's new or we haven't talked with very much comes on, try and be respectful and let everybody have a voice. It's more fun that way. Um and you guys are all doing good with that. So I'm not trying to say that you don't already do that. At the time, V8 sedans and such were cheaper than transmissions or brake jobs, I gathered. Man, can you believe it? It was cheaper to buy a car than buy a used car than fix the one you were driving.
Brake jobs.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we realized. I was about 2 hours past my nighttime meds because we went late last night, and I think I was getting grouchy because of the.
That's what you said on the way home.
Yeah,
I said, "What happened to you?" And you said, "I'm 2 hours late on my meds." And I said, "Okay."
I just used a drywall screw, Tim. They snap off real easy, and I use some red RTV to keep it from walking in that hole.
I would guess those pliers ended up in the wrong place.
They're not in here or anything?
Oh, they could be down there in my little stash, but I
Uh,
don't think so. My phone is there.
here's the. Remember I was looking for that?
You were looking for that.
Man, where's this go?
Not there.
Hey, I got this. Go ahead and go. But you're back in the hot seat, buddy.
You're on the hot seat.
Yeah,
Well, you're not giving it back.
straight up.
Straight up.
We'll find it
You
tomorrow.
sure they're not like in your purse or something?
We'll find it
Hey, what
tomorrow.
about down there? There's all kind of pliers and stuff on the floor.
Probably, well, it's definitely in one of those places. If it was anywhere, it'd be somewhere.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Я не знаю. That's Russian. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I've completely missed everything. Speaking of let's see, Kim, where did you stop here? Did you decide on a hobby, pins, or stay? Oh yeah, yeah, Kim. What did you finally put in your wheel after?
I already told him. I said
Okay.
broken off old drywall screw.
Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about. I'm gonna have to take that apart, put a cotter pin in it, because I don't want her driving it. Drywall screw in it. You didn't really do that, did you?
You can never be sure, can you?
Speaking of lost tools, I was cleaning the garage shelves today and found the hacksaw I've been missing for 3 years. Been using my grandpa's saw in the meantime, reminded me to put tools back. Man, I'm the one like put the tools back, and then when I don't put a tool back, man, do I get mad at myself. I just
Because if
oh.
it was my fault, then I'm worried he'd be mad at me.
The August 1973 four-barrel Australian engine was downgraded to two-barrel heads with small 60, get it out yet, 600 CFM four-barrel carb, 290 horse gross, 223 net. When they went to the net horsepower, they just lost me. not a patch on the US Cobra Jet. Let's see. Were you using pliers under the car, Kim? That's what I asked. This is One-Eyed Cat. Oh, Wendy, I was paying bills before we go to No Name Nationals. You know what's bad, Kim? You know what's bad? I get paid the day we leave to go to No Name Nationals.
Good.
So, well, what'll be is like, it'll be like, no, wait, I gotta sit here and pay bills in a hurry.
Oh man.
Because I'll spend it all in No Name Nationals and come back and go, I can't pay my bills. I remember when a set of aftermarket aluminum heads was price of 2 cars. Man, you know,
I mean, it is like that now,
I
percentage wise.
yeah, I was over there looking for tools, but I was kind of listening and I was thinking about brakes. Somebody said something about a brake job. I remember when I first started working in the brake shop in 1971, a full brake job, which is drum brakes, was new linings, turn the drums, uh, rebuild the wheel cylinders, flush out the system, no rebuild on the master cylinder, but make sure it works. And that was $80. And that seemed like a lot of money. If it came in under $80, it was like 78, you know. And that was like a premium brake shop. Way down the street, there was a gas station. This one gas stations used to do a lot of work. There was a gas station, and the guy had a sign outside. It says "New Brakes, 1995." And a block up the street, there was another brake shop, and the guy had a sign outside. It says "We fix 1995 brake jobs." I loved it. Well, I killed the chat.
You killed it.
Everybody walked away.
No.
You don't like what I'm saying?
No, it was difficult making the transition from staring at me to staring at
They like staring at you more than they like staring at
me.
me.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think I'm that much.
I need to get a long blonde-haired wig.
I'm all business. I don't know if they would want to watch that.
They probably wouldn't want to watch that.
I don't have a long blonde wig. I used to have a long blonde wig. My friend borrowed it and never gave it back.
She said she had a long blonde wig, and her friend borrowed it and didn't give it back. Man.
Yeah, Georgia B. Cummings.
Oh, I don't tell people's names like
What?
Cummins. Did she build engines?
No,
It wasn't Cummins. It was Cummings.
I don't know which place.
People sometimes call the engine in the Ram pickups Cummings. There's no G. It's Cummins. It's Cummins. We're still here. Honda Motor Company made aluminum Cleveland style heads for the 250 Falcon. You used to pick them up for $25. In 2000, Ford should have had Honda make Cleveland 351 alloy heads, but Roush made dollars. Yeah. Radiator question for Buff. Here we go. I haven't exercised the petcock drain in over 38 years. Should I spray it with something? You recommend first that I don't snap it off. I'd go down there with I think it's a 9/16 wrench, and just unscrew the petcock and take it out. Put it in a vise or go buy a new one.
I mean, it really depends on what part of the country you're in.
Now, this is the wrong time of year for this, but go to the local dollar store and they have these kiddie pools, these blue kiddie pools. Can you see it behind me? See on the shelf up there way behind me? There's a blue kiddie pool up there. Kiddie meaning not like cats, but like little kids. Kiddie pool. And you put that kiddie pool under the car because it's big. It's the biggest drain pan you can get. Just pull the lower radiator hose off, and it goes gush, and it fills the kiddie pool up with.
Walmart might still have them in the
And they're
shelves.
cheap. And then you just scoop it out and clean out the kiddie pool. But you can save all your coolant and it doesn't go all over the ground. Because if you put a regular drain pan, it just goes everywhere. It just goes all on the outside of the drain pan. You catch very little of it. Kiddie pools are wonderful for that. Um, and when I had the radiator shops, that's what I used to do. Rarely did I undo a petcock. A lot of times I found them stuck. When you go to turn the handle breaks loose from the part that's supposed to screw around, and then it's unusable.
Are they all reverse threaded?
They are reverse threaded. So, and now they're all plastic. So, what I used to just replace them. I had bins full of those things. I just replace them. But when I just have kiddie pool under the car and pull the lower hose. Just big long screwdriver, undo the clamp, reach down there with a hose hook. You know what a hose hook is? Where's a hose hook? Hose hook. Hose hook.
I don't know. No one put it away last
Somebody
time.
didn't put the hose hook away? Here's a hose hook. This is a giant hose hook. Reach down there with this thing, stick it in the hose and just work it around like that. Break the hose loose and then just grab on the hose and gush. Empties the system like look. It's empty and it's in the kiddie pool. It's like that fast. I thought you said another kind of itty. No, kitty, like kiddie, Kiddy, kids, like a kid's pool. The ones you see kids on. I don't know. Do you have those in New Zealand? I'm sure you do. I mean, here in the springtime, those things are just like in all the dollar stores, and they're like $5. It's cheap and it's great. Uh, I see that pool. Cool idea. Since I'm getting a new lower hose anyway, top hose. Well, if you can grab onto that hose and turn it, you don't poke a hole in the hose with this. You stick it imagine my hand's the hose. You stick it in there and then you work it around. I'm trying to make this so you can see it. You work it around the hose like this, and that unglues the hose connect from the connection on the radiator. Just pull it off, and then it empties, guaranteed. Mud daubers love those pet guys. Yeah, you find all kinds of things, find stuff. Live in there.
Mud dauber.
Kids. Oh, not do you have kids there? You have kiddie pools there. Paul, how you doing? Good evening. I need now. I got dirty. Where's my cleaner that I always have sitting here? You probably put it away.
I put it away.
Thank you. I'll wash my hands with Tang. Oh no, here it is. You didn't put it away. It's hanging here. See, I wash my hands with this green stuff, which is very, very diluted.
Green stuff.
Green, yeah. What's that stuff called? Simple green. Simple green. Gotta go.
Who's leaving?
Jim's Fastback Garage. Yeah, I'll ride with you, Jim. Sure, that sounds like fun.
Thanks for hanging out.
And I
Jim.
can't wait to see that car. I just think of that top on that car. First time I saw it, it was like, look at that. It's
Yeah,
that Central
he told me
California
about
accent.
your channel. He was like,
Oh yeah, you can. I was telling her, you got to see this car.
You liked?
Oh, Jab, I generally like mud daubers. Harmless, but go to war against stinger wasps. It's like to hover in my face when I'm reading a book. Oh, geez, I don't know about that. What are the ones? What are the ones that are kind of brown looking, wasp looking things? And they fly around with the gear down. They got their legs hanging down like they forgot to put their gear up. They,
I got some dollars.
but they're maybe those are mud daubers. I don't know. We have them around here. Jim's Cleveland Garage. That's what Dean Stevenson's calling him out. Jim's Cleveland Garage.
I gotta make some.
Tim's making some
I
parts.
gotta make hog rings, so I'm just gonna sit here in a relaxed fashion.
Making hog rings. Why don't we buy hog rings?
Because I need them now,
That's a good reason.
and I need specialized ones.
Harrier jump jets. Yeah, they take off vertically, but they leave the gear down. That doesn't make any sense. These bugs fly around with their gear down. That's the enormous amount of drag.
You know what? They don't care.
Okay, Olive says mud daubers are black basically, but very gear down. Okay, yeah, the ones here kind of dark brown. Yeah, and they fly around with the gear down. Those are the mud daubers, huh?
I think that is.
Yeah, they're around here. We got them a lot of times around here.
I mean, they're around because they make mud daubs.
Do they sting?
No, they're pretty passive.
Mud daubers don't sting?
I
Okay.
mean, they will sting, but they don't come out. Like those big black bumblebees. They like fly at your head and stuff. Mud daubers, they just fly away.
Big black bumblebees are around here.
They're
But
real aggressive.
Are they? I've never had a sting by. I've never even
Well,
had
they
one
don't
land on me.
sting you, but they'll fly at your face.
Oh,
They're
okay.
real territorial. And
Oh, I
those
see.
red wasps, they'll fly at you
Oh,
too.
there's a horrible. Those red things. We had those up there in that corner,
Well, they're still
and
up there.
I sprayed the crap out of
They're
them, and
still
they just rained down dead. I don't want them in the shop.
no, you
That's a
can't.
bad place for them
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
open the doors on the shop and
And they'll sting you.
they sting. That's right. Murder hornets. Murder hornets. Yeah. No, they don't sting people. Sometimes fill any tubes they want. Here's what happened. People used to bring me radiators. They take a car apart, be apart for a couple of years, and then they're going back together with it. And they finally get to putting a radiator in, and they bring me the radiator, not rod, the radiator out, which means you pull the tank off and you stick a rod down through each tube to clean the tubes out. And so I pop the top tank off. Man, it'd be full of mud daubers. Mud daubers nest. Mud daubers leave by the time you put the heat on the tank, or they die. But I found a lot of mud daubers nests inside radiators that have been
I found that mud
sitting.
dauber nest in that 727 transmission, remember?
Oh, there's a mud dauber's nest in a transmission.
Well, the fitting
What
was busted off.
went in?
They
They went in the fitting and made a home.
made a nest, yeah. Filled it up with that transmission would have failed.
It says mud daubers fight the aggressive wasp that will sting you. Okay, we'll leave the mud daubers alone.
Yeah, I don't mind me some
The
mud
ones that
daubers.
run around with their gear down.
I was thinking about making a mud dauber sticker. Like Zip Ties and Bioplies got the Dumpies sticker.
Okay.
About making a mud daubers mud dauber. I don't know what it would look like though. If anybody knows how to draw a really characterized mud dauber, buy it from me.
I gotta see what time it's 10:45. Okay, so we've been on for an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
Feels like 15 minutes.
Well, it
Uh,
depends on who's talking and who's listening.
yeah, mud daubers. Okay, yeah, Dean Stevens said just like what the Russians did with Chernobyl. Not much difference. Not much different to radiator maintenance. And they made a mistake there, didn't they? Um, they were the Yellow Jackets send an odor signal that call the whole swarm to attack. You know, I believe that.
Oh yeah.
Ground nests have killed dogs when a dog digs at the nest. So many stings that it stresses the dog's breathing. Oh man.
Yep.
I had a what's the thing that's like a Ford Crown Vic, but it's Mercury. The
Marquis Grand.
Marquis. It was a Grand Marquis, and I had a little used car lot for a while. Man, that's a whole story. Don't ever do that. Don't ever make a little used car lot. So anyway, the mirror on this side, there were yellow jackets living in there, but I didn't know that. So I cleaned this car all up and I took it for a ride, and I went into probably a Sonic. I think I was in a Sonic, and so I could eat sitting there in the car. And so I'm sitting there waiting for my food, and I feel something. I look out, there's a yellow jacket stinging me, and I'm like, yeah, get this yellow jacket off me. And then a couple more come out from behind the mirror. They're like, there's that thing, and the mirror's there. There's a nest in there. So I rolled the window. After I ate, I went to a 5-minute car wash, a coin car wash, and I stuck the nozzle in there, and man, it's like 100 yellow jackets came up from behind the mirror, and they were after me and on the ground, and I soaking them with soapy water, and all I want to do is get out of there. But I blasted them all
Well,
out.
that Black Ranger was loaded with bees.
Oh,
Look at
you're
those wasps, the not yellow
oh,
jackets,
and they were in the
in the doors
that was
and in the hinges.
and in the yellow mellow yellow cans.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
That guy had filled the bed up like a trash can with empty mellow yellow cans
And trash,
and
other trash.
trash, but mostly mellow yellow cans, hundreds and hundreds of them. And these were all full of bees. He made a giant bee's nest. Listen, the bees coming home and they're like, let's see which mellow yellow can is it. I'm amazed they found their homes, but they did.
They didn't like when I evicted
Then,
them all.
yeah, she evicted them all. I hate that yellow jacket smell. I didn't even know they smelled. Yeah, in Boise, the ground yellow jackets are bad. This side of the state, we don't get those. Just the ones that hide in the nest. You're about to stick your hand. See, I know about where you live, Barrows, but I've never been over to that side of the state. I come up from Salt Lake, and you know the road. Come up from Salt Lake and then head over toward Oregon. So, and go through Boise, and I got a friend that lives in Star, and so I go through there. I used to go through there quite a bit, but never been over to that side of the state or up north. I've never been to the north end of the state. I always kind of wanted to do that, but remote Marawas, they were there to help. Hi, your Barrows. I'm no fan of either. Very aggressive. I freaking found this is all I freaking found yellow jackets in a ceiling fixture spot. Way to complicate my week. Mrs. One Eye Cat. I hate bees and flies. My former wife that was here, she had beehives, and I wasn't really in favor of that. But after I got used to them, the honeybees, I could stand right by the beehives. I knew how to handle stuff in the beehives, and as long as you didn't mess with them, they wouldn't mess with me. And I learned to that they really weren't a problem. But if you had yellow jackets come around, they make a mess. They destroy the beehives. But the problem I had was beehives. We had a couple of cold years here, and they all died. You tried to put blankets and everything, and they normally enough of them would live through the winter that you'd have beehives the next year. But man, that below zero winter took them all out.
Global warming.
Yeah, it's a global warming. It's actually got cold or something. I don't know how that works. I like Superfly girls from PA, but I won't hit on you, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. Huh. Dean, where are you going with that? Mrs. One-Eyed Cat looks fierce. Yeah, those fierce women in there. Road toads.
Yes.
I love road toads. That's right. When I fired that Mark III, the mice built a hotel in the muffler, and the Yellow Jackets turned it into a city. When I got to hold it about 2K, they exploded against the shop door. When Kim got the Studebaker Lark running, all the mice nests just flew out of the back of that exhaust pipe. It is amazing. They're still flying around pissed as hell. Yeah, we didn't have anything living in the exhaust pipe. They died long ago, but all the nests were there. And she started that engine, the nest came out. The heat drives polar air down where it normally wouldn't be. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what happens though is we've had two years here that were pretty darn cold. 2 years ago it got below zero. This last winter it was
Pretty
yeah,
damn
it's
cold.
down. Yeah, it got down about zero for a few days. Maybe it might have been 1 or 2 degrees above zero Fahrenheit. But normally here to get cold days are like in the high teens. So I'm hoping we have a high teens um,
Here.
year and not a below zero.
Yeah.
Well, see, I lived in South Dakota when I was a kid, and it'd be 30 below, but that's normal for up there. But yeah, you get those cold fronts that come down this far. It's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
I got it.
The houses aren't designed with the insulation for that. The heating system's not designed to
Well,
cope with that.
and what we did was we closed off a bunch of rooms, stuffed stuff under the doors, and closed the heat registers in the rooms. And those rooms would stay about 45, 50 degrees, and we heated the 2 rooms we live in and the kitchen. And this year we'll heat the studio, but yeah, I just don't hope it doesn't get um, that cold again. Yeah, let's see here. My workshop is full of spiders. Yeah, We get some of that here too.
I mean, they're not so. I don't know. I guess we just don't. They don't bother us as much. But we see them. They're a lot around.
Yeah, we get spiders here, and see, I don't know the spiders well here. Out there in Arizona and California, we had black widows everywhere, and yeah, I know what the webs have a look to them, and it'd be like, okay, they got a black widow gonna be there, and they'd kind of hang out like in corners and stuff, but they were nowhere near as numerous as these spiders are here. Uh, man, I got a spider last night out of the house that it was enormous,
Oh,
big ass spider. You already sleep.
I don't know.
Well, I just took him out,
Scary.
just took him away. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, the differentials is ultimate motion generator, isotherms. Oh, if you take a gray bag and fill it with other gray plastic bag, the bees don't like they think it's a hornet's nest, huh? You know the honeybees, I didn't mind at all. I wouldn't mind having them around because I'm sure it helps the plant life and everything. But the thing with the honeybees is it it takes some time. You gotta there's some upkeep, and we're busy enough, and I don't really want to mess with them.
Well, your ex-wife really took care of the bees, didn't
She,
she?
that was her deal. Yeah, she liked the bees.
That was one
Took
of
care
the
of the
things
bees.
she actually did take care of when she was doing stuff.
Um,
She liked that. Sure.
Starting a cough. Don't start coughing. I just got a mouse under the hood of my car. There were droppings all over under my hood and inside the car. Found an old mess behind my shelves. Yeah, mice are a mess.
Destroy everything. They were the absolute winner of that poll that we put up.
Yeah, somebody's got to remind me, like, because I'll forget, Kim or somebody in here, that on Tuesday we'll go look at the poll and we'll wrap that thing up on what's uh what's wor- what's worse. What's a worse problem in a car, rust or rodents? They both make a mess. Let's see here. I had a black widow in my bathroom in my last apartment down here. Well, I had a black widow in Georgia. They called her Mrs. Doom, but she got all the bugs that came in. A square winner. Black widows probably aren't bad. I don't want to get bit by one. I used to have them right at the entry of the house I had in Arizona, which is kind of one of these little alcoves. They they just they just build nests in there. I didn't want them there because you come in the house and there's always black widow webs across. You walk into them, it's not nice. I'll leave the spiders alone in my workshop unless they're literally in my way. I figure they're keeping other bugs under control. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a balance. It's an L7 black widow. Sounds good. You got black widows down there in New Zealand? I don't know what all the animal life down under is all different from here. Like especially in Australia, they've got some stuff we don't have here at
They're
all.
supposed to have some of the most deadly stuff down in Australia. It's
Dr.
like
Go, take dryer sheets and stick them under all the floor mats, under the seats, in the jockey box, wherever you can hide them. Mice hate them. Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, Kim, you know those things I hate in the dryer?
dryer sheets.
Yeah, you put them in the car so the
Mice
mice
don't like that.
mice don't like that. I forgot about that.
I was not aware.
Out here in farm country, mice are everywhere. Yeah,
Oh,
we got them here. And when we had the cat, they were very few, but now, cat's
I
gone,
mean,
so
we still have mice, even with
still
the cat.
mice are around. I mean, most of the black widows in Georgia are pretty little. Wouldn't want to bite from them, but they aren't actually like, yeah, my brother got a black widow bite one time. His arm was all swollen up. It's about the worst one I've seen. I don't think I've ever uh, been bit by a black widow, but I don't want to be after seeing what my brother had. Um, Diatomaceous. Is that how you pronounce that, Kim? Diatomaceous earth?
Diatomaceous earth.
Diatomaceous earth. Yeah, we have some here. Helps with bug problems though, because that powder dries out. Bugs. I don't know what it does. I've heard it cuts them up inside. I don't know. They're when I put it around plants, the bugs don't bother the plants. Buick Smith. Hello, what is Kim working on tonight? Uh, she's working on. She took that. She had too much new stuffing on the seat. Got her up kind of high, so her head was hitting the top of the headliner in the car. So she's redoing the seat, making it a little less.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't so. I was really upset about it at first, but it's like I don't have to cover it again. I just have to change the paddings.
Yeah, most of the work in that seat was
Sewing it.
was all the sewing, so all that's okay. She overdid it a bit with the putting new foam and stuff in it because it was just like sitting in a hole, and then it was like sitting on a seat that was too good. No, a redback or Hectopo is just a distant relative. Hmm. Hmm. Indeed, Kitsy, black widows can be an issue if you have population explosion in your house, but they usually aren't all much of a bother. Freaking everything is either venomous or poisonous in Australia. Kitsy Bluff says that. Uh, Dean Stevenson, the further south, the more, what is that word, Kim? Ink, I'm sure I know what it means. Ink, INCOCU, ink, ink.
I don't know.
Does that mean poisonous? Dean, I'm sorry, you're like a step ahead of me. I'm like my education just stops at some point. It's just below that. Lots of black widows here in Colorado. Have to be careful. We have the big ones. Yeah, same thing in Arizona. They were big. Redbacks are fairly aggressive. Ah, caterpillars are quite timid. The Aussie and Kiwi ones interbred, but they're infertile. Oh, caterpillar, night stinger, or night crawler in Maori. Maori. I've got scars on those barrows. I've got scars on my left calf from rattlesnake strike. Eesh. It got caught in my Levi's, so it hit me a few times. It was an offensive bite, so it didn't full inject. So what happened to you? How bad was it? I want to know what happened. I have been, oh, innocuous. That's what you meant. Okay, so I do understand that word. Wrong spelling by Dean. Innocuous. Uh, yeah, I've been pretty close to rattlesnakes before, and it's like, uh-oh, I just stay away from them. And what usually happens is they run away from me. We had them out at the test site, and they get in like one of our bathrooms or something, and they just go like hell. And we call it test officer. We had one test officer there that was test officers, the ones that take care of the test site, and they're like your air traffic control people and everything. And they stay at the test site. They're not part of the team. And so there's one of the test officers there that like rattlesnakes. He'd come in with this hook and take the rattlesnake and take him out of the bathroom. He enjoyed that kind of thing. My wife just read that bull spiders will kill the brown recluse and black widow spiders. Maybe. John Wilburn, good evening.
Welcome to the stream, John.
Welcome to the stream.
He's in here late.
Did you make? Yeah, he came in at 11:01. John Wilburn's probably just finishing his day's work. The guy's busy from first thing in the morning to last thing at night every day. Did you make snakeskin boost out of it? I see. Did you make snakeskin boots out of it? And he wrote boost because he's thinking about something else. Felix Smith, howdy, John. Let's see here. Dean Stevenson, hello, John. Pharaohs, for over a week, it made everything taste like straight sugar. Oh, did you go to a doctor or anything? How tall is Kim? Kim, what are you, like 7'3"?
6'9".
6'9". I don't know. She's like
I
Well, I'm 5'7", and she's like noticeably taller than me. So
so I have had spinal surgeries that made me shorter. I
you
used to be almost 6'1", and now I am closer to 5'11".
did you hear that? I don't know if everybody heard that. Probably. She's very tall. Yeah,
Pretty
five.
tall.
I think she's 5'11".
Pretty.
She says she used to be taller before the neck surgery.
Well, that's how it goes.
Buff, you were in PA, grew up with copperheads all over back there. Really? I was in I was in almost Ohio. I was in oh yeah, I was in Sharon, Pennsylvania. And then if you know where Conneaut Lake was or is, it's still there. I was in Conneaut Lake and Meadville. That's the name of that city I couldn't think of, Kim. Meadville.
Meadville, yeah.
And man, I applied for a job in Meadville. They needed an uh, uh, airport manager. But then I started thinking, what I don't want to manage a job in an airport where most of your job is going to be keeping the snow off the runways. And as yeah, man, I'm glad I bailed out of that. I didn't even want the interview. I was afraid I'd get the job. Dean Stevenson says you're 5'12". You know what? Dean's pretty smart. He's like he knows he knows SAE dimensions, and he's in a. Aren't you in a metric place? Maybe you do use feet and inches there. I don't know. Probably like us, where they changed. Meadville had our local drag strip. You know, I didn't even know there was a drag strip there. Harry, you're here. He says, howdy, Kim. Howdy, all.
Hey, welcome to the stream.
Meadville city limits. Meadville is kind of a small town near Conneaut Lake, and they had some industry there. What's in Meadville? Oh,
Nothing.
yeah, sure. These tools we like.
Channel.
Channel locks. Channel locks is Meadville, Pennsylvania. So they manufacture channel locks, and it's one of the few companies that's still in the U.S. manufacturing tools. Great tools, great company.
Till like tomorrow.
Glad they're still there. Yeah, now I said that though.
We'll be
No, no,
closed tomorrow.
don't go to China. Please don't go to China. Maybe you kind of like, you never know. Maybe Conneaut Lake decided to wander its way to Kingsville. Oh, Kingsville's up. Yeah, it's up near you, Kitsy Fluff. Everybody's saying hi to Ary. Uh, John Wilburn, literally true. Just got 2 known name nationals banners ready to ship. Paid some bills. Got some tech questions answered and dumped one of Tom Mew's comments. It's a productive evening. Dean Stevenson, I'm A and B dexterous.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah, but he didn't write. He's like doing
Fancy.
his language listing. Um, he's ambidextrous with
Ambidextrous.
except he says dexter. Okay, my great aunt was born in 1919 and grew to be 6'2" and a big frame. Her dad was 6'8". She was taller than most men in her whole family. See, my father was 6 feet, but my mother's father was like just like me. He's like 5'6" or 7" or something. So I guess I got that side of the family. And my brothers, he and I are the same height, and I think my sister looks more like the women on my dad's side of the family. I got the hair in the family. I have hair. My brother got the hair from my mom's side of the family, which was no hair. My brother was doing the comb over in high school, trying to look like he had hair. And I still got to pay for haircuts. Uh, I miss my channel lock diagonal cutters. Nothing else fits my hand like they did. Well, would that be these? Blue? I have blue diagonal cutters and channel locks. Everything all over, and you know what they are. They're all channel lock. John, can we order no name Nationals banners? Let's pay bills tonight. Yeah, John. Yeah. Dexterous intolerance, is what Dean Stevenson says. Buick Smith, John, I mentioned it last night, but I will likely not make it to no name Nationals after all this year. Have medical stuff. Kim, something just happened.
What happened?
That went dark and that something came up. Don't know what error we have going.
Okay, let's see.
Uh, the chat's still going, but I don't know if we're still
Oh, you
going.
know what? I never plugged this computer in. This whole time it's been running without the
Oh, it's been
electricity.
running on a battery.
The whole time.
Oh, I hope we keep going.
It says battery's low, but I'll plug it in now. It'll be okay.
Is it? You sure?
Yeah, I'll plug it in. And it'll be okay.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
catch.
Um,
Oh, sorry for yelling at the
yelling at the mic.
Yeah.
We just about lost everything because no power.
There.
You know, we've been on
Happy.
battery power this whole
The whole
time.
time, yeah.
Wow. That's a good battery, Kim.
It is. I try and keep things
My
up to date.
my
Current.
my laptop, the battery's a piece of crap. It'll run for almost 30 seconds before it dies.
Oh,
It won't even boot up. So then I replaced the battery. It was worse. It was a Chinese battery. And you can't even get a good battery. I bought battery after battery and finally gave up. Put the original battery back in and I just plug it in. It really stinks. My mother was Kitsy Fluff. Okay, John has a link. Okay, my mother was 5'1". My brother got the short end of the stick, no pun intended. That's Kitsy Fluff. Kitsy Fluff, how tall are you? I think you weren't one of the real tall guys there, but I don't think you're real short either. Buick Smith, we will miss you. Hope to see you in 2025. Harry, I have my first gen no name national banner. It used to be on my toolbox. Arrows. That is them, Buff. Stevenson, closer to the earth is closer to God. Something else the background changed. The stupid Windows 10 or 11 or something just changed the background. Dean Stevenson's give us a picture of battery. So now we can, yeah, we're still on because Kim, I saw a warning come up and that laptop's far enough away and I got my close-up glasses on. I couldn't read it. So I alerted her to it. She went over there and she goes, oh, she plugged the, so we're on house current, shop current now. So she saved it. I keep my PC on battery backup. If I lose power, my whole PC can keep going for 2 hours, which is plenty for safety. Hey, Kitsy Fluff, you remember right where you work by the CNC machine? If you were to look, if you're standing there looking into the that vertical mill, if you looked upstairs, there was a staircase right there and an office at the top that was all full of crap when you were there. That used to be my office. So I could overlook everything. And I'd be up there and I'd be working on CAD and man, the power would go up. A third of it would go away because it's the three phase. Whoever wired that screwed it up, and like we'd lose two of the three phases. And I'd be right in the middle of something. It's like, piff, everything would just go away. I learned when I was doing CAD, save, 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 save. Everything I did save because I'd lose like two or three things because the power would go off way too often. And you think Titan would ever get me a uh, a battery backup? No. Um, I can keep my PC on battery backup. Like I said, I can go for 2 hours, which is plenty. Yeah, 2 hours is great. Yeah, I'd get a warning of like 0. Everything would go dim in the shop. The machines would start groaning because they're running on one of the three phases. Harry, you're overgrown. How tall? I heard you're a tall guy. Um, Salt and battery, great if a fire. Really? Oh, great in a fire. What was it? Was unused my entire life. Oh, the entire time there, uh that office. I was in the one next to your machine, and Jay was in the one next to me, and and we were pretty busy up there, and I took Jay would take most of the calls, but anybody that didn't speak English, I'd take the calls, and I was in charge of setting up new dealerships. So there wasn't a lot of that, but then I'd also take dealers' orders. But most of what I did was just engineering and trying to supervise the whole shop, just all that stuff. Uh, yeah, I save constantly. Yep. You learn after you lose a couple of things in CAD drawing, you learn to save, 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 save. Uh, I learned that the hard way in my middle school days. Yeah, I was in middle school. There was a computer was like a big thing you walked into, and nobody had them except IBM, maybe General Motors. The first computer I ever saw, I walked through it. Walked through it. It's like a library. These big cards that slid out like books on shelves. Oh man. Uh, no, a lot of like no code jump packs could be battery backups too. When I first started out, I was in Jay's old office doing web development. That's what I heard. John didn't know what to do with you, so he had you do the website, and you're so darn good at it, he had you work on CAD and the machine, and you ended up being the machinist. Yes. Yeah, and I hadn't been there in years, and I walked in there to do those wings for another company. And I was just Kim's in there making noise. I don't know if it's shutting the mic off or not. Maybe you can.
I do work.
Maybe you can hear them. I think they're hearing the wrench in there. So
Okay.
so when I came in there, I meet you, and you're yeah, everywhere I work, it's all the old guys that know how to do anything. And I go in there, and you're a young guy in there, and you know how to do everything. It was like, man, this is refreshing. I don't know, you're just one of those guys that likes technology and likes to do stuff, and it was good. We had other young people working in there when I was there. Well, I say we, I was a customer there, just doing. I was supposed to be just supervising those two wing builds, but you had a couple other young people in there. Yeah, I remember one guy sitting in a lounge chair with his feet up, and he had a file, and he was deburring tool or deburring wing ribs. And he's going with the file like at quarter speed, and I'm thinking, man, you better speed it up, dude. Uh, see, Tim, Barrows, who was who, who was doing the live stream when I was driving on the left side of the road? Hey, I didn't really noise. Who was driving on the left side of the road? I just assumed that was Dean because I saw all the it looked like driving in New Zealand going on your live. So I assumed that was Dean Stevenson. Uh, Buick Smith's got to take off. Okay, take care. Good night. I don't tell Tim it was Dean Stevenson. Oh, it was Dean Stevenson. Oh, if I remember the giant floppies. Oh yeah, I remember the giant. I remember loading a CAD program on a computer with those big floppies. It's one after another. And you run, and it'd take forever, and then you pull it out, swap to the next one, and then swap to the next one. There's a whole stack of big floppies to put the CAD on the machine. Noise. Giant floppies doesn't sound right without context. Yeah, the old people know. Yeah, that loser couldn't make a single good part. Oh, you know who I'm talking about. That's pretty funny. Yeah, he quit while I was there, I think. There were two of them. They were really slow. One of them cut a bunch of foam ribs, and they were all cut at an angle. I mean, he ruined the whole the whole run of foam ribs. He ruined them because he just didn't understand what to do, or he didn't care or whatever. Just ruined them. It's sad to see somebody take something that's good. It was a good. We They made these big mechanical power wrench over there. You done or still going?
I'll hit it again, but they're short bursts.
Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. I didn't know the other side, so it'll be
Okay, so I can talk for a minute without the power wrench. So I've lost my way. Let's see, it's around, I don't know. Yeah, it's just sad when you see like a big loaf of this stuff that's all been hot wire cut. It's really good. And then you got to cut them into slices to make ribs. And so you see all this good stuff and you watch one guy turn the whole run into junk. And he's still working there, you know. It's like, well, he quit while I was there. Yeah, Dean, I had a question. I was watching that going down the wrong side of the road, which was actually the left side of the road, not the right side of the road. And you had these diamonds that looked like you were coming into an intersection or something. And I don't know what those diamonds, those white diamonds painted in the road. What does that mean? We don't have those here. We have diamonds like that in a lane uh that's it's a far left lane, and it's for they call it the HOV lane. I'm trying to remember what that means. It means you got to have more than one person in the car.
vehicle.
What is it?
The high occupancy vehicle.
High occupancy vehicle. So diamond lanes for us are where you have to have several people in the car. But you were on where there was only one lane and you had diamonds painted on the road. I didn't know what that meant. Kitsy Fluff, at my new job, they were still using floppy to load programs onto that machine. You got to be kidding me. That's like this year. They were in the middle of converting to USB like 3 weeks after I started. Well, good. I thought I can't get how you all shift those things with the wrong hand. Oh, I've driven cars like that. What did I drive like that? It was a Lotus 7. Drove a Lotus 7 a long time ago when I was a teenager and the shifter was over here. Then I drove other cars like that in England. Just pretend you're in a boat driving like New Zealand. I flew a lot of airplanes that were backwards because you fly airplanes that just sit side by side has a yoke and then has throttles, and fighter jets and small airplanes and stuff have a stick and they have throttles over here, so it kind of became like Dean says, ambidextrous. It's like having really awkward girl. Yeah, my first computer had no hard drive, had to load a boot program, then DOS disk, and then whatever else you were doing. Oh man. Yeah, HOV. Do you see? Yep, it means a zebra crossing is coming up. What? Zebra crossing? No, I know better than that. Maybe I don't know better than that. Okay, Dean, tell me what those diamonds really mean. We have arrows showing what side of the road to drive. Yeah, I saw that. That's what that looked like. Is that what that is? No, the arrows were on the right side, not on the left. Or were they going that way? I don't remember. I remember seeing arrows and diamonds. What are the diamonds for? Me and my wife vacationed in England, and it took a while to get used to driving that way. Just had to remember which side to stay in when I made a turn. What I had to remember was when I got back here not to turn left at a roundabout, because there were no roundabouts here, and then I ran into a couple of them. It's like, no, 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 right. But in England, they do the roundabouts correctly because when you go in, there's lanes and you choose the lane that's going to take you out, and those lanes end, and then the next one ends, the next one ends. So it's like driving on the inside of a screw. So if you get in the correct lane, it just dumps you out in the right outlet. It's just perfect. I mean, they really do it right. In the U.S., it's like some idiot tried to make a roundabout because they heard it was cool and they botched it all up. Now we got botched up roundabouts everywhere.
All over the place.
And we have arrows showing what side of the road to drive on. Okay. Me and my wife vacation in England. Okay, I saw that. Kitsy Fluff is laughing. Which side of the clouds did you have to fly on? Well, if you have an instant rating, just blast through them. Of course, you got to get a clearance. Um, side of the clouds. Guy that owned Titan, he just go through them anyway. That's a deep in the weeds flying joke. I can't even tell it because I'd lose everybody riding with this guy. Okay, let's see. You drive on the wrong side of the road, just put a red armband on the left hand. That's where you do it if the ambulance or police are after you. Uh, a lot of the rotaries oh yeah, they called them rotaries in New England, made for cars going like 20 miles per hour tops, I think. In England, the what they called up there rotaries, the roundabouts, in the middle of them were huge. And there, a lot of times it was some kind of display or a park or something. But in the roads around the outside, the roundabout was wide and it was nice. And as soon as you get in there, you just choose the correct lane and it dumps you right out where you want to go. You almost never have to slow down. Yeah, and you're going the other way, of course. Same ones, all the information is stored in. Left hand down. Left hand down. Dean, and none of the people here remember this because I got my driver's license in 1970. Even then, nobody did this, but you had to learn it. The hand signals, which were stop, left turn, and right turn. Over there, did they do that with this hand? Left turn, right turn, stop.
We had to learn hand signals when I learned to drive.
You know, in California, when you take your first driver's test, you go out and drive. They you start off with 100 points at the beginning of the test, and they subtract points as you make mistakes. So while I was taking my driver's license test, some guy like a block and a half in front of me jaywalked in front of me. So I slow down and I get up there and I stop. He finishes crossing and I continue on. And he jaywalked the middle of a block, not at a corner. So when I get back, I'm sitting there at the motor vehicle department. This examiner's sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. He isn't saying anything, and he's writing something. He goes, well, you passed. He goes, the only thing he goes, I'm taking 1 point off because you didn't roll your window down and signal for a stop when that guy crossed in front of you. Thinking, you got to be kidding me. So maybe I should have just run over him while I'm cranking my window down. Uh, Pull over roadhog. That's a steering instruction, Buff. Left hand down. They're putting lots of roundabouts here in Colorado Springs lately. Lots of wrecks now. Are they making them bigger? Or are they just taking an intersection, and cramming a roundabout into like an intersection size piece of property? When I got my license, I was still taught those for in case the lights were busted. You get a ticket for lights busted, but they want you to know. Yeah. So you must have gotten your license just in the last. You're not that old. I'd say within the last 10 years. Semaphore went out here. Semaphore. No, this is your arm. Did they call your arm a semaphore? Because I remember those things on Volkswagens that came from Germany went pink and they popped out like chicken. They popped out. Uh, Turn signals were like little rods that popped out of the side of the car and the B pillars. What counts a rod? Roundabouts are 15 miles an hour and could be one or two lane. The center inner circle has a mountable curb. Semi-truck trailers can roll up on them. See, in the US, they don't know how to make roundabouts right. They just completely botch it up, trying to be like Europe, and they do it wrong. And now we got to live with that crap. And people hate roundabouts. It's not because they hate roundabouts. They hate the bozos that made them. The stupid engineers that didn't know what they were doing. Uh, Wisconsin seems to be the king of unclear road signage. Keeping them small. Yeah, that's dumb. Of course, they don't have any property to move out onto because they weren't there originally. Kitsy Fuff. I thought it said got my license when I was 11. No, got your license. Back to the power wrench. I know that's shutting my mic off. Got my license in 2011. You were 16 in 2011? I thought you were younger than that. 1955 they did. Morse miners and early VW bugs. Yeah, they had those little things that popped out and pointed which way you were going. Those were like signalator or some quaint name like that, the flippy turn signals. Semaphores. I think, I don't know. Wisconsin small cities still have unmarked traditional intersections, no stop signs for any direction. They just assume that people will figure out who should stop. You know, when I moved to Ohio, right next to the factory where we were, the airplane factory, they moved out of that building into a big building. But next to that building, there were railroad tracks that went by, and there was a dirt road that went over the tracks. No, it wasn't dirt. It was paved. It was a single lane road that went over the tracks. They had a yield sign, and there were trees right there. I mean, you had to pull up and really look because it was up to the driver of the car not to get smacked by the train. No signals, no stop signs. You know, and every once in a while a car would get pushed like way down yonder somewhere. And the trains went by there about 45, 50 miles an hour, you know. You wouldn't want to get hit by that. Sounds like Vice Garage's beautiful name. Sigulator. Yeah, Signalator. Yeah, I'm 29 now as of this month. Yeah, so when I was there, you would have been 27. Yeah, I guess. I figured you're like mid 20s, something like that. You were probably one of the youngest people there. Darwin rules. Darwin. Yeah, I've seen I remember all the Darwin stuff, and I wonder if any of it's true. Didn't Mythbusters do a couple of Darwins to see if they were real? Yeah, I don't know. Most of the guys there were older. The welders were older. Oh, there's only one welder left, I guess, when I was there and you were there. There used to be three of them back there, and then two more that came in a swing shift, an afternoon shift. And then that's when I was running the show. And the sheet metal guys, there were a couple of sheet metal guys. They were older guys. Um, what was his name? The old Air Force, the retired Air Force guy. He's the same age I was. So when I was there, he was 68. He was darn good sheet metal man. You probably know who I mean. And then the one guy that was the old time machinist, what I call the old time machinist, he looked like he was about 40. But then I found out he was 65 years old. He's young looking 65, but he was the old time machinist, the guy that did everything with a hand vertical mill and hand run lathes and all that stuff. He was pretty good, the older machinist. And then there was you back there doing all the whiz kid stuff. Uh, Now I feel old. I have grandkids that are 25. My grandkids are adults now. Yeah, but Wisconsin will have signs that'll be like this way or don't with arrows pointing. Sure, to ignore your own arrow. Now there's nobody there. Yeah. Now it's an empty building now. Empty of people. That's really sad. And what happened? I probably said this here before. The guy that owned that company got killed in an airplane accident about a month ago. And I mean, he was the company. It was his passion that kept that place going. And yeah, it's done. Uh, the DOT's claim that traditional intersections have many different fatal approach accidents, and the roundabout accidents are supposed to be non-fatal because it's slow and accidents are side impacts. Yeah, I don't know. It's all shut down pretty much while things are being sorted out, from what I know. Yeah, it's that's probably the end of it. Trafficator might be. It might. Old Crawford, old Crawford locator. Hired Mike got fired for drinking vodka on the job. Mike, Mike, Mike. He's the machinist. I think that's who you mean. I'm not going to bring any names in here other than that. But I didn't know I had no idea of that. All I know is it was pretty much an all new group of people, couple old timers there. When I came in to supervise on those two wings, and it was a good group of people that were there, other than the couple young guys that were like in slow motion, uh, deburring parts at half speed. And there's Junk Car Willie. Hey, how you doing? You said you said you might stop in. Good to see you. Scariest time to be on the Barrow says scariest time to be on the road here in southeast Idaho is in October. 16-year-old kids with 10-wheelers loaded way too heavy with spuds, fresh out of the fields and no idea about weight shift. And that's something when I was in Oregon, Pendleton, Oregon, you get out on the whatever that interstate is, what is it, 84, I think there. It's just trucks full of onions going by. Same kind of thing. Trucks, truck after truck after truck full of onions. And they lay them over on the highway a lot. Love Junk Car Willie. Yeah, when Tim's hammering, it shuts off the mic. Yeah, the guy who you thought was 40. Okay, yeah, that mic. Yeah, it's because you and his name. It's funny. You and his name is backward. The other machinist there was 80s. Okay, he had a heart attack or something when I was there, and he came back, and then he left just because of help. He was like in his mid 80s. He's a nice guy, but when you're working every day in your mid 80s and you're having heart attacks, it's probably time to retire. And I think he still wanted to be, I don't think he wanted to retire. I think he kind of had to retire. He's a good guy. You sound healthy. Well, Giancarlo Willie. Yeah, Giancarlo Willie was yeah, I was wondering how you're doing because I know you were overdoing it, I think. You were doing a lot of video in a lot of places, traveling a lot. What'd you just pull down? That's Oh, okay. I thought you pulled down something. Oh, the thing I thought you pulled down is still up there. It's those bendable exhaust things. Oh, his wife died too. Man, you get up into your 80s and all the sad stuff starts to happen. Yeah. He and I both signed up to teach machining at the local college, but not enough students are signing up for it. And that's really sad. Oh, man. There should be a line of people there waiting for that.
What are the kids doing these
What are they
days?
doing? Poking at their phone and waiting for the next check. I don't know what they're doing. Waiting for the next deposit in their account. Living with their parents. Shit, I don't know what they're doing. Good to see you again, junk car. Yeah, Dean, I'm feeling back to normal. Well, good. It's good to hear that, Willie. Trevor Barrows. You're the man. Barrows has been a big help to me. He's a good guy.
Yeah, thank you for all your support, Barrows. You've been great. We could
Oh,
have asked for a more friendly supporter right when we were like making this big jump to try and be monetized, streaming more. Pretty wild stuff. Want to work?
Kitsy Fluff, right? When I was at the open house with my table for joint machining, and everyone flocked to HVAC and welding. Well, at least they're going to welding. I mean, it's too bad they don't know what machining is. Probably don't know what it is. Well, look at you. You finished college and got your degree, and then it took John was like, "Hey, you're pretty good at the computer. Take a look at this." You just you're one of those guys that figures stuff out, and you figured it out. For machining classes, I suggest a teaser demonstration. When people see a drill press can change metal and stuff, there might be more engagement. You know, what's amazing is watching somebody like Kitsy Fluff with a CNC vertical mill. And you can draw apart what you want, and like minutes later, you have the part in your hand made out of material, aluminum or something,
All right, I'm
and
going to
it's
tell you
perfect.
something that you already know, but you
Okay,
ain't thinking of.
okay, here we go.
How it used to be was that potential employers wanted the schools, they wanted the schools to have programs to get people ready to hire out of school. And now, and they sent people in, right? They sent somebody in, they did a demo, they had a thing in the auditorium, and they talked about jobs in the, when there was jobs in nuclear industry. They had industry, there's going to be jobs in the nuclear industry. Aviation, there's going to be jobs in the aviation. They'd have a thing, they'd give the schools some monies, or they do it with the schools, like the tech schools, they'd help them develop programs. AutoCAD, that was a thing. They bought a bunch of computers for our schools so they could have classes and teach AutoCAD, and so we all were introduced to it. They don't do that no more. The people that come in now are colleges. They push college prep. Everybody's going to go to college, 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 because they want their money.
That's what happened to us. All the stuff in high
The
school
only
went
thing
away,
they push.
and it was college.
Only thing.
When I was there, it was like that's what the counselor would tell you: college prep, college prep, college prep. And I was in the industrial arts end of things, and it was winding down when I was in it. It is really sad. Yeah, I used to, when I had my first radiator shop, I knew the people in the high school. I'd call them up. I'd go, "Hey, I'm hiring somebody. I need to hire somebody. Send me like three of your best guys." And they'd send people down, fill out applications. Those guys wanted the jobs, and I'd get my pick of the best of the three. And then after a while, I call it, and pretty soon there's no teachers left. Oh no, we ended the industrial arts program. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? Where am I going to get people? And that was that. They ended the industrial arts and the ag, all the big ag school, all the ag gone. Yeah, CNC, CAD CAM. I should bring in a ton of manufactured parts and stages to bring people to show them the process. They can't even imagine. I, I'll probably lose everybody because we've got this big, all this stuff but I want to tell a story that's going to take me a minute or two. Hitsy Flip, you know what that place is like. And I used to run that shop. I ran the whole shoot matches. So we had a guy come in, a customer, and a potential customer. I walked him through there, and I'm showing him everything. I'm showing him the sheet metal shop, and there's people over there making parts. And I'm showing him the CNC machine, and people working the lathes. And then we're over in the welding area, and they're taking tubes and bending the tubes and fitting them and welding frames and all this stuff going on. And this guy's looking at it all, and you know what he says to me after I've taken him through there? He looks at me and goes, but where do you get the kits? These are kit airplanes that we're manufacturing the kit airplanes for people to build the kits. But he's looking at me, but where do you get the kits? And I just showed him how all the parts are made, but he just can't get that through his head that we're making the kits. He's like, kits must come from like the magic hitman in the sky or something. I don't know what he's thinking. But that guy couldn't couldn't fathom that we were building the kits. But he just kept saying to me, "But where do you get the kits? But where do you get the kits?" Uh, Never finished getting a degree, but put my 40 years in computers. Yeah, I didn't finish a degree. Geez, I was lucky. People hired me and thought I had a degree. They just never checked. I never said anything, and they never checked.
Your work spoke for itself.
My work spoke for itself. Yeah. Uh, they're shifting that heavy student debt to the trade schools now. Kitsy Fluff, I had no idea. You had no idea. the employers at the time wanted bachelor's degree just to work the mailroom. Yeah, like what is that? Love Mike Rowe. Yeah, Mike Rowe's great. Mike Rowe is great.
He's a smart guy. He sees the big
Who's
picture.
the Who's the guy that's running like a independent running for president? Not that I want to get into politics a whole lot, but he wanted Mike Rowe to be his vice presidential running mate, and Mike turned it down. But that's amazing, bro. What a great guy! What a great guy!
Hey, Chad, if you're not
No, no, I won't talk. I'm talking not about politics. I'm talking about Mike Rowe. Just what a great guy. Uh,
Chad,
but people are so used to buying parts and things for things, even DIYing the whole thing. You can shape metal yourself. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with a chunk of aluminum and a hammer and a sandbag. uh,
this country's losing its ability to do that stuff.
like the net says, and Jimmy Barnes, only take a minute to sing my song. When it comes to the trades, we need to support the apprentice programs of the not crippling debt of modern tech schools. And that's another thing. What's driven that debt up is the availability of all that student loan stuff. That's when the cost of education went way up. It's when all that money became available. Because I knew people out at the test site that were in their 40s, like late 40s, and they're just paying off their student loans, and now they start looking for a house to buy. You know, they shouldn't have had student loans, and they should have been buying a house like within their first year or two of being in a professional position. And sadly, they had hundreds of thousands, some of them hundreds of thousands, all of them over $100,000 in debt the first day they started working, and that sucks. Luckily, our area and state is big manufacturing and building trades. So our tech colleges really bring in the kids. Well, that's good. And many techs across the state have different programs, even like Mercury Marine. So much comes from factories is the thing. People think you need a factory for everything. Mike Rowe does that with the apprentice programs. Yeah, yeah, he used to just go around doing dirty job stuff. But, I remember he went up inside an Air Force KC-135, and there was a couple of airmen, one of them woman, but they were still addressed as airmen. Uh, and they went up there and they had to change the flatters in those tanks. That was not a fun job. But these are young people that are like 19, 20, that are the lower ranking Air Force people were up in there doing jobs that were technical and did a good job, and one that's nobody with a degree wants to get up inside the wing and change bladders. That would be an epic dirty job. I CNC'd a TRW Mustang power steering coupler. So funny to do that in 1991 out of alloy stock. Micro polish sleeve, job done. So many tech schools are finance scams. Yep, there's a problem. The Reagan change in education. Okay, I don't want to get into that. Uh, it's because I'm not going to blame any one person or any politician or anything. I don't want to get into politics. No. Yep. Yep. I'm not going to blame any person. It's the whole thing, and so it's the whole thing. It's basically a U.S. power steering unit with a right-hand drive-handed. Oh, I see what you did. See, we sold airplanes to a guy. Well, we sold more airplanes to New Zealand than anywhere else. And one of the customers down there had come up to visit us, and his business in New Zealand was making right-hand drive cars out of American cars. Hilarious. Look at Mike Rowe's YouTube show from yesterday. I haven't seen it. About someone trying to scam his 91-year-old dad. He had a hard time keeping a straight face. In New Zealand, Roger, and in the U.S., economics is. I'm not going to get into that. Uh, it, it was directed. Okay, we're going to get off. We're going to get off the particular uh,
See, that's what happens. You can't talk about
Particular people, because there's going to be a whole bunch of disagreement here, and I don't want to be in there.
Yeah, politics, people. You want to bring it back around to the car?
I had merit scholarships, Wazoo, but they didn't count. Mike Rose started as an opera singer, got his first break as a pitchman for QVC. Is that where he started? Great guy. I bought all his audiobooks to listen to on long road trips. The English obviously tried to fool us into going the wrong way. Was that like on the wrong side of the road? How did we, meaning the U.S., get started on the left-hand drive? Because back in the beginning, all the first cars were right-hand drive in the U.S. It's not really about the politics. Well, okay, enough. Uh, right-hand drive conversion are funny. Well, I don't know. It's like, I guess cars of a certain age there have to be right-hand drive, and they have, once they're older, they're exempt from that. I don't know. I don't really know how that works. I think that guy was doing a lot of late model Mustangs and Camaros, maybe. I don't know. I don't know which ones you can get there that are already that way from the factory. Van Morrison, the right side of the Van Morrison. Oh, said in his book that Dirty Jobs was an eye opener for him. That's why Vans. Morrison Vans. One of the vans I saw in England a lot? Bedford. Bedford Vans. You know. The car I didn't know about till I went to England was the smart car, sports car. I forget what they called it. Remember little smart cars, little short stubby cars? They have a little roadster. It was really cute. Cool little sports car. And they were running all over England. And man, just looked like a fun car. We never got here. Never got them here. Dr. Go, I got my driver's license on 7777. The number 7 is supposed to be lucky. But if you know my unfortunate access, you were counting on your lucky 7. Yeah, you got a bad accident right off. Man, there are things in England I'd never seen before. Ian Stevenson, do they come in brown? Oh man, I need another cough drop. Do I have any more? Throat's getting dry. If my throat starts itching, you know what happened, or tickling. The sneezing fit starts. Kim, what you doing?
I am cleaning,
Dragging,
organizing,
dragging our electric cords all over.
I'm doing to work.
Hope you don't unplug anything.
Well, these things could happen. I gotta wash my hands and then sit down. I'm sweating.
Yeah, come over here and sit down and read the stream.
Stare into the abyss.
Are there any cars in New Zealand that are not built anywhere else? Like in England, there are cars there that I never saw anywhere else, although they might get into Western Europe a bit. But there are cars that just don't get exported. I'm wondering if there's anything like that in New Zealand. Essentially, North America is left-hand drive because we had big horse and oxen teams, and most drovers, I guess your drivers are right-handed with the whips. Man, who knows? I remember it was some story like that. But I remember seeing a car not too long.
Great.
Noise. I remember a car that they said it was the first left-hand drive, and I don't remember what it was. There's a picture of it.
Uh, have you seen the story about what the size of the space shuttle was determined by the width of a horse's ass?
It was the that thing that ran on rails that the space shuttle moved out to the.
It's a long thing.
Yeah, it's
Has
a
people
long thing.
seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
That passed around in engineering school. That was 20 years ago.
Drover is a word. Okay. The Trekka. Okay, what's a Trekka?
That performance
I
car
have
by
a
Smart.
427 and 462.
The seat is
I'm not,
back in the Dart, Tim, and it sits good.
but it's good luck if you have like Effie Fords and Limas. A lot of people call them Limas in Ohio. See, I always said like Lima, Peru, and Lima everywhere. I went to Ohio and they go, Lima, it's Lima, like a lima bean. I go, okay. So I got corrected very quickly. They're Limas. Okay. The color on that car is really cool, and that car gets better and better every day. It does. Steve's the Trekka. Drover's the word. Did Kim get the seat put back in the Dart? I think
Already.
that's what all that noise was. What?
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there. Did you sit in it?
I did. The seatbelts are in there, although they're not hooked to the floor yet, but they're in the seat. And
It's important to hook them to the floor.
yeah,
Somebody recently didn't do that. I don't remember who it was, and they
that's
thought they
kind
were
of a mistake.
thought they were belted, and they weren't.
Dean Stevenson knows Roman modular track width.
Yeah. Yep.
The horse determines the chariot determines the axle determines the train gauge determines the width of the width of the tunnel uh, uh, is required in order to transport the shuttle by railroad. Therefore, they had to design the shuttle to meet the width of a horse's behind.
From the
I
from
did
the
not
Roman
hurt my
Empire.
back doing that myself, although I did stress my shoulders. I can feel that a little bit.
She's pretty good at moving things around and finding pivoting points and not putting the weight on her back. And if she does that, she's
But I
done.
did
She's
poke a
done
hole in the back seat with the
in the back of
bolts
the seat.
in the back seat.
Oh,
I accidentally punctured a hole through it with the seat, which pisses me off. But
Roman modular track with you. Yep, that goes back to railroad gauges, but the horse's bum may not be so accurate. Yeah, it could be. Hope you didn't hurt your back. Okay. 1966 to 69 New Zealand SUV made with Skoda parts. Are you kidding me? Really? Skoda. When I was in England, I rode in a Skoda. They had a Skoda out there where they were teaching us to fly this thing, and I rode in a Skoda. But that was in '09, so it was not known at all to me. I mean, I knew of the company, but that wasn't it. I knew it as a Tommy car from like way back, and but it was a newer car. It was a rental, so it was like within a year old or so. Lima. Oh, is Lima, Montana, or Lima? So which is it up there? If you don't pronounce it Lima, they look at you sideways. Okay, to me it was always Lima until I got to Ohio, and then they look at me sideways because I said Lima, and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I say Lima.
good
But
night,
neck
Dr.
is slow.
Go. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I missed that.
Just said it.
Check out. Okay, Doctor, go. So I'm not up to that. So Kim graduated from electric tape to blue painter's tape. Yes,
Yeah. I just don't want dirt to get in it while I'm working.
that wasn't to hold the finger together. It was to keep the crap out.
Keep the
Keep
stuff
this
out.
stuff out.
And I want it to be easy to remove, so I use the blue painter tape. And then my neck and spine are hurting. It's hard to sleep. But they I'm doing okay. We've been getting a lot of rest. We rested a lot today. And then once it was time to get stuff done, I had to run across town to pick up things and working on computers, and now I'm working on a car. It's just so much to do. You could just only take so much rest in a lifetime.
What's this? Once I was really looking for an excuse to buy this very 80s. I don't know if you pronounce it R or what. I've seen that. Romanian kind of Land Rover thing, Ford V8 and stuff, and just cool. Just wasn't suitable for the job though. I've got MELs 430, 462 in my Lincoln, and I don't like those engines. You have a Lincoln. What year Lincoln do you have? And does it have hydraulic windshield wipers and all this hydraulics? You know what? The Lincolns here that had the hydraulic wipers, I think they were backwards. So they'd sweep across the driver like they do, like, like the wipers in the US go across like this. So it wipes all the way to the edge of the window on the driver's side. In New Zealand and Australia, they go this way. So they've switched the sides, but I think the Lincolns over here were all just like they are down under. So you have one of those Lincolns that has the hydraulic wipers, and are they correct on the correct side for down under? Or did they switch them like they did up here? I think they put the Australia ones here and put the US ones down there. Is it pronounced Aro? Arrow? Aro? Don't know. So Kim, when you sat in it, how was it?
Much better.
Your head didn't hit the ceiling or anything?
It's still high. You don't realize how small of a car it is.
The Ocelot. I've seen that car. What is that, Korean? Mine white normal or hydraulic. Yours white like this, so they make a full sweep in front of the driver. 'Cause I drove one up here and it was the other way. And I thought, why did they do this? I wonder if we got some of the ones from down under. Ambidextrous windshield wiper. What year is yours, Barrows? Oh, yours is hydraulic, so it's an older one. I can't believe they even did that. I wonder if there's a lot of pictures of those Dean. I think about that thing sometimes. Tim's, I had some old 40s, 50s Chevys that had vacuum windshield. Oh yeah, all the old Fords were vacuum. 57 Ford had a vacuum wiper motor right near the center of the top of the firewall, and you could take that off and put a motor for a 55 Chevy there, but the sweep was a little bit too far, so the wiper would come off the edge of the window and come back. But that was a really nice thing. And then the cable that went up there to control the vacuum motor, actually, that's where the switch was on the 55 Chevy motor. So you just hook that cable up to it, and you have electric wipers. All you had to do is get the motor from the Chevy, and you get rid of the vacuum wipers. They worked okay when they were new, but you start getting a few miles on them and you go uphill, they just about stop when you start losing vacuum. But then they had a vacuum pump on the top of the fuel pump, but it still didn't work very well. I kind of grew up with that. All the cars we had when I was a kid were vacuum wipers. Thunderbird was like that as well. What year Thunderbirds were like that? Thunderbirds went like this, like 58, 9, and 60. They didn't go to one side. They left a big triangular patch in the middle. Romanian, they did away with them because the orbiter would smoke your belt if the wipers froze to the windshield. You know what? I, I had a friend that was a designer, engineer, one of these guys. For
All right. Well, we have sound for a moment while I
Okay, so
fix
we
it.
have sound right now on a backup mic. That's a mic that goes backwards. Oh, but Kim's trying to fix this mic issue. Next week we're
We're
gonna
going to
have
have
all
all
new
new
stuff up
stuff
and
up and
running.
running.
Um,
Uh,
so
so
can you
can you
hear
hear
us?
us?
At least it might not be as good, but it should be working.
They can hear us.
They can hear us. Drone theft of microtone. Microtone? Is that like a microphone? Microtone?
All right.
What are we on now? Backup mic? Or are we back on the original mic?
We're back on the original
We're
mic.
back on the original mic. She knows where the magic button is now.
Hey, I'm a good engineer. And then the whole time it was fine until I came back here because it doesn't want me to talk too much.
Oh yeah, Buff Del Campo, mic's down. Now I know what she means, mic's down. Yeah, everybody like Mike took a crap. Um, I think they are now aware. I think they're now aware. It's back. Half sound. Yeah, because when she went to the backup mic, I know I can look over there and see there's two bar graphs and it was the second bar graph and I could see it wasn't as high. Magic Kim. Magic Kim.
I'm learning stuff. You guys are here. You're like the early adopters here to the channel.
They need
And
these. We could just talk to them all.
that's right. You guys are the early adopters while we work out all the bugs. And don't tell anybody about the stream. Like, don't like or subscribe or share because what'll happen is we'll get all kind of people in here. It'll be a mess. Right now, it's good. It's just a couple people. We're having a good time. Less stress.
Backup isn't that bad, really. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Where is that? It's the laptop mic
It might be the mic for the.
on that little camera.
Yeah.
Might be the mic on the little camera. See, we don't even know where the backup mic is. We
There's
just know that
three microphones.
we
There's
just
one.
know
There's a
it
microphone
toggles it.
in the laptop. There's three cameras too. We got all this stuff. Well, you didn't tell me that the camera was all crooked. It's been
I
all
didn't.
crooked.
Well, you already getting irritated with me, so I just kept my mouth shut.
Okay, good job.
I was kicking and screaming into 2024s. That I was having a stroke. No, no, no.
Maybe.
Oh man, I have a friend that he's a police officer for his whole life, and then, well, he actually Army first, then police officer, and then he was a sergeant. And he said he hated being, he always wanted to be a sergeant. And then when he made sergeant, he hated it. He goes, all I am is I sit at a desk, and he goes, people call off sick, and he goes, I've got to find somebody to take their place. He goes, that's my job now, finding people to come in when other people don't want to work, and he tears hair out with that. So he finally retires, and he's retired like a month, and he has a massive stroke. And then he told me one time, he goes, just don't have a stroke. He says, have a heart attack, have anything else, but don't have a stroke. And he had a walker in every room, and he used the walker to get to the next room, and then he'd go through the door and swap walkers and move around. He had a nurse living with him for a long time just to have him go to the bathroom and stuff. I mean, stroke's no joke, man. It's just, and I pay attention to my blood pressure because of that.
Yeah, you've been doing really good with your blood pressure. I'm proud of you. Everybody tell him how good it is that he's got his sugar and his blood pressure within the range that his doctor says it's supposed to be in, and it was a challenge. He
Yeah,
deserves
it was slowly
all
getting.
the praise for the goodness of it, him taking care of himself, because he would not be here long if he did not take care of himself, because it was way out of range for a while there.
Well, I'd start running out of blood pressure medication, so then I'd start rationing it. Because I knew I was going to drive to Mexico to get it, so I cut it like 75%. Well, blood pressure went up like two 210 over
Are you going to the doctor
140 or something.
tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I got to go to the doctor tomorrow.
He's getting himself a new primary care physician tomorrow so that he can get those medications prescribed so he can get the local pharmacy here in town to dispense his medication. He don't have to go to Mexico to get pills. And he don't like it, but he does it anyways because I beg him to do it.
I had a good doctor here. It was at those of you in the U.S. will know who Dollar General is. They had a van out front. It was they called it Doc Go. It's a doctor's office in a big old van, looked like a little motorhome. And you get inside, and there was a doctor's office in there, and they had a lab in there. They did everything, but the doctor'd be on a screen up in front of you. So they pull that person up, have a conversation with them, and the nurse that was there, he'd do all the stuff, the blood pressure, and look at things, and put all the electronic stuff to listen to your heart and your breathing and everything. It was pretty cool. So I went there for like a year. Well, they ended it. No more Dollar General
That's where
doctors.
we got all this equipment. We just got it from the .go going out of business sale.
The- So they, so now I had to go look for another doctor. And I was ready to drive to Mexico again, but that's from here, that's 1,100 miles.
It's not worth it to save a couple bucks.
So when I was in Yuma, Mexico is like right there. So it's really easy. But now it's not at all easy. And I,
Kitsy Fluff says that the best thing I've done recently is joining fencing. So now sword fighting is keeping me active and healthier. That sounds like a very intensive physical activity. So, and I know you wear like the safety equipment, stuff like that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Good job. Whatever it is that like motivates you to get up and go and do it and because you're enjoying it, that's the thing.
fly, fly,
Chase it.
fly the medicine in by drone. Yeah, I think, the border is a problem because I can walk across the border both directions without a lot of trouble. You start flying a drone across the border, somebody's going to catch on that you're doing something weird. And I never drive across the border because then they're going to search your car. And I'm not going to do it. It's so easy. Walking across to Mexico and coming back in, if you have your passport, it's simple, simple, simple stuff. It's easy. And they know people are bringing medication across. And as long as you don't bring stupid amounts or the something that's you shouldn't be bringing in, there's no problem with it. They go, what do you have in the bag? And I'll say, like, medication for high blood pressure and diabetes. And sometimes they look in the bag, sometimes they don't. And they go, have a good day. That's coming back into the U.S. Easy.
Dean Stevenson said, I'd really like to become a sumo wrestler, but I don't have the physique. It's probably not easy to maintain that physique, Dean. Tim says, my wife is diabetic, and with my heart stuff, we eat healthy, and I go to the local gym 3 times a week. That's excellent. Tim, congratulations for taking control of your health and for taking care of you and your wife with eating healthy and going to the gym. Because I'll bet you if you weren't doing those things, the idea of trying to put a motor in your truck would probably not at all even be real. We're looking forward to seeing you do that.
Kim done the
Be
same.
careful.
Kim did the same thing with me. Got me on track with my diabetic diet. But my diet and her diet are a little different because she's got a couple issues that I don't have, and then I've got some that she doesn't have. So we're not always eating the same things, but we're both staying on the diets, and it's
We go grocery shopping together. We're
yeah.
careful about what we buy, and
And
we
there
don't eat out much.
and there are things we can both eat.
Yeah, we
She
try
eats
and
a,
eat
she
meals
eats a
together.
lot of tortillas and taco kind of like stuff. And my limit is, like a couple of times a week, I'll eat two of those little tortillas that are 7 grams of carbs. But that's my limit. I got to keep the carbs down low. So I'll look over there and see her eating tacos, and I'm like, oh man, that looks good. But yeah, I can't do that anymore. But I'll eat two of them once in a while. Sounds pretty good. Uh,
Alum says a favorite line from my life was when Kendo Sensei was like, Miss Olive, why is there orange stuff on your hakama? Hakama? I don't know that word.
I don't know that word.
That's funny though. It does sound like it would be an entertaining place to be. Tim, you taking it by force, the martial law plan.
Martial law.
I just hope I don't drop that motor on myself. Tim, do not drop the motor on yourself. At all costs, get the hell out of the way.
I have made engine dropping mistakes, and recently Kim made an engine dropping mistake, and she scampered out of the way on time. And I am the one I made was when I was really young. We hooked something up wrong, and as we jacked the engine up, it was underneath the boom. There was a slot, and you were supposed to stick the chain in a slot and then through a like a fork that goes like this. But the guy that had hooked it up just stuck it in the slot. So as it went up, the chain slid out of the slot, and an FE Ford came down like 4 feet, wham, onto the ground. All of us were smart enough not to be under it, and that's why nobody got hurt. But it hurt the engine badly. Uh, so yeah, just be careful. If you think, and you check twice, do shit once, check twice, you'll be okay. Don't work on a hill. That's what Kim did. Work on the edge of a hill
In the grass.
in the grass. And when the whole engine's hoist started to move over, the cherry picker started tipping over. If you've seen it's on a video. She ran in the direction away from the way it was turning, and she lifted the engine up, and I was in another vehicle pulling the truck out. We had these little walkie-talkies. She goes, "Okay, go forward a little more, a little more," and then I felt like an earthquake, boom, inside the truck, and I'm like, looked in the mirror to see what that was, and I see the engine go rolling by down there. Oh, the engine dropped off the cherry picker, and it made quite a kerthunk, basically having a keto diet. You know, I, keto diet for me, not really. I eat a lot of vegetables, and I'm good with that. I gotta watch what vegetable. I can't eat like big bowls full of corn, but
Oh, that reminds me,
I
we
can
have
eat a lot of lettuce and cabbage, and I like coleslaw, and you know.
crock pot will be ready when we go back. There's
Oh,
bacon and chicken and pork chops in a crock pot. They're gonna be so good.
we did. She did something I never seen anybody do. She put bacon in a crock pot, which is all mushy and everything. Then she took the bacon and cooked it somewhere else. So the bacon was good. Now we got all that bacon fat in the crock pot. So she put chicken and pork chops in the bacon fat, and it's cooking. This ought to be interesting.
Oh,
And
that'd
I
be
can
good.
and I can eat. There's no carbs, but there's a lot of probably other things that are going to clog my arteries. But that's all right. I'll
Yeah.
eat some.
Well, we'll
I'll eat some.
drain it.
Drain the bacon fat out of it.
It'll be good. We're losing the chat. They're talking about uh hakama, Japanese pants. And Autumn was changing a 318 water pump in a snowbank, and that's how she got
Oh,
RTV on after a kendo meet on her pants.
oh, geez.
And
That's a white things.
samurai pants, yeah. And Dean Stevenson's wife likes pine nuts. And since he's eating healthier, he's losing weight, so not much chance of being a sumo. Well,
You know what's wrong with pine nuts? Here, they're extremely expensive. So I don't buy 'em. I just don't buy them. I love them, but they are crazy expensive here. You ever
all
eat, you ever eat pine nuts?
uh, rarely.
Yeah, okay. I used to eat them a lot,
Are
but
those anything like
they're little nuts. They're little. Who eats pine nuts anyway?
I don't know.
I thought they're good.
Allum likes them in pesto. Uh, I'm more of a geisha fan. Geisha, is it right? There's no accounting for taste. Well, whatever you like. Tim says, I saw on Finnegan he put an air slave cylinder on his engine hoist. I got one. It's great. Can still pump with the handle if you want. I've seen those. That
Does it go
does.
up too fast?
No, it's fine. Uh,
Air. Yeah, I would think hydraulics, which you already have. I would think, yeah, okay, well that's interesting.
and Dean
Hmm.
likes RTV on 318 on rye. I think that must be something he gets at the local diner. You guys are wild. It
Food in,
is
food in a tube is not usually good. Of course, that's what they eat in space, or they used to.
Central Time. It's quarter after midnight, and we started it
And you
quarter
know
after
what? I
9.
got and I got to go to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Why'd you go and remind me of that? I don't want to go to the doctor.
because I want you to set your alarm so
I
you
don't want
don't
to go to
sleep
that. I don't
through
want
it.
to go to the doctor tomorrow. I hate
How
going to the
early you
doctor.
go?
9:30.
Oh, oh, oh,
I don't want to go to the doctor. I think that's what it is.
guys,
Let me look.
we appreciate
Let
you
me
being
look.
here. keeping the chat moving and having conversation with us, entertaining us, and keeping us energized while we work. We're going to continue to make improvements so that the stream is better. I'm going to take care of this old man so he's around for a long time to tell stories and read your chat. And we're going to get this dart ready for No Name Nationals. Every day we get a little bit closer, whether we want to or not. And are we taking tomorrow off, or are we going to maybe stream for an hour or two tomorrow night again?
Let's make that decision after I get back from the doctor.
We don't know. We'll put up a thing if we're going to be here.
My guess is, okay, Tuesday we know we're doing the live from the studio.
Tuesday live from the studio.
So tomorrow, maybe we should see if we can get this all this new stuff working. And if it's working, we'll maybe do a trial run tomorrow night. But
maybe a
maybe
trial
not.
run. You guys are early adopters, like I said. Thank you for putting up with see,
Your
the dog is like, we
dog
heard.
ran, stream's over.
All right, everyone. We love you. Thanks for being here, and we'll be back as soon